reaction now towards those culprits who have killed innocents in India via these Pakistanis sitting abroad in other countries other than Pakistan? So, what do you have to say about that? What will the Indian government do to teach them lessons?
I think India has reacted already. Now it's up to Pakistan to react, and we'll have to wait and watch.
That is on Pakistan's side. I'm talking about those sitting up in other countries other than Pakistan. Those who have orchestrated earlier wars, the earlier attacks. What about them? They shouldn't be left untaught lessons.
I think Indians appreciate and value the idea of free speech. It is something central to a civilization. Voices of dissent are built up in India, not just merely tolerated, but we value that. So in open societies, if individuals with multiple positions want to peacefully articulate themselves, then India would have no problems with that. Two things. The moment they begin to attack our citizens physically or our interests physically, we would certainly take cognizance of that and continue to work with the authorities to avert that or bring them to books. Aside from that, we'd also continue to lean on these countries to make sure that the law isn't broken in their thing. That's entirely their discretion. So I'm afraid that India would just have to wait and watch as to what these people do. But the Indian diaspora is also extremely excited, as you would know, Ganesh, better. And, for any propaganda nonsense that these people, the occasional people indulge in, perhaps the Indian diaspora would retaliate by just being peaceful and speaking the truth. Truth alone triumphs. Satyameva Jayate. It's not truth triumphs. Truth alone triumphs. And every Indian would be invested in that idea.
So those who supplied funds, etc., to Pakistan to go and attack India or conduct terrorist attacks, etc., as this military personnel has accepted, I'll reiterate the question. What will Indian government do to those sitting abroad in other countries other than India who have remote controlled the attacks in India via funding?
We have to pick our battles, I'm afraid. It is a problem. I concede that it is a problem. But right now, that's also something that's been continually happening even before this terrorist attack. And there are no easy options on the table. What India can do is to push them back on FATF, as you would know, and try to dry up the pond for Pakistan, and then continue to work with global authorities towards making sure that these people are pulled up. But there's nothing else that you can do. I would say safeguard your borders and focus on economic growth, but at the same time push back against Pakistan and push back really hard. But get rich before you get old. And Indian focus should continue to be the economy and pick your battles real wisely.
Yeah, battles need to be picked wisely, but then we have to keep records of who did what. And I think those people who did all those maybe in their old ages right now, and we need to bring them to, we have to ask Pakistan who were the US officials, etc., and the UK officials, etc. I'll be naming the countries very, very openly. Who were they and who has funded, and give their names. So they have to be brought into international courts and they have to give answers.
Yes, India could do that. It's not an either or situation, of course. I agree with you that India has to press for transparency, no question. And there's also a sense of remorse that seems to be brewing, generally speaking, amongst Western societies, and they're waking up to this the Pakistani problem. And I think, generally speaking, if India can work more closer ties and make sure that we are able to avert these situations, it will be even better. So, yes to transparency, but what's more valuable is to work with these countries to avert these situations and just, focus again, put your eye back on the ball and focus on the ball. The ball is prosperity, and these are situations that we have to react to violently, of course.
See, again, unless and until we don't do appropriate teaching to these individuals who the allegations are there now. It is for them to work on those allegations that the Pakistani personnel has done. Um, we have to expect a reply from those countries, and whomsoever was involved, they need to come and tell like what exactly are you going to do about these people who are in your country.
You're not going to change their mind, Ganesh. It's just not. You're not going to change an Islamist's mind. You're not.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about. See, we have identified already, and we have been. See, understand, until the cancer is entirely removed from their roots, it is probably going to return back, and that should not be the case. We have to do a proper exercise so that all the people involved in the past also have to be taught lessons, so that the message is clear and crisp, that if you disturb Indians unnecessarily, you will not be spared. That message has to go clear.
One of the things that I worry about is covert operations by jihadi complex in Pakistan in Indian cities. This is something, not all wars fought through missiles and guns and weapons, because that would be honorable, as despicable an act of war is. That is at least honorable. But, terror, one of the things that we have to worry about is what would Pakistan do to activate their assets, ground assets in India, and they have some, we all know this, in order to create more mass panic. And that's something that we need to focus on. And I think what you're saying acts as a carpet, a runway for those events. So you're right, we have to worry about this. But right now is the time for us to teach these guys a solid lesson. And then we have to fight future wars on an as and when basis when they do occur. There are no good answers. There are no good options on the table, I'm afraid.
See, I don't think the current governments who are aware of what the situation is are going to tolerate nonsenses in their own grounds, right? I think UK and US will not tolerate rascals in their grounds. So obviously they are morally duty bound to address those themselves at first, and we have to give them ample amount of time. While this statement has come from the Pakistani personnel, so let's not be pessimistic about those things as well, and let's see what happens. Hi Raghu, why don't others speak? I mean, Brandon is on phone. Jay, comedian, yeah, please. I think Laurel is alone speaking, so we have to support him. Hi Mudura.
Yeah, sorry guys, I was just away. So one of the things that are worthwhile reflecting on is desperate attempts by Pakistan to almost Palestinize this problem. Because if you look at the way in which the ISPR has responded to this verbally, they seem to have, not seem to have, they have categorically said that innocent civilians have lost their lives and children have lost their lives. These are markers of how they wish to position this conflict. And there's already an industrial complex out there which, globalizes the war between the two countries in the Middle East. And the tendency of Pakistan to co-hashtag these problems in a way where it resonates with the communities and global community in an easily digestible packaged form. This is something that Pakistan will try. And the capacity of Western, and I say this with no ambiguity, with capacities of Western media houses to lap this narrative up and dish it out to their masses is infinite. So the BJP government, for all its strengths, and I'm an advocate of the BJP government, I don't agree with everything they do. I run rooms where I, hopefully in good faith, critique the government as much as I support it. But generally speaking, the BJP government seems to have a weakness of communicating to the world. And, responding to overtures by the global media in a dismissive, callous form. And I'm afraid that gears will have to be switched. You young Indians who understand the problem will have to be collaborated with so that a perfectly holistic picture is presented. A soft power blitzkrieg is launched into, so the people of the world have a reasonable grasp. Otherwise, you'll end up winning the war on ground zero or the battle on ground zero, but you'd have lost the war of narratives. And considering the nature of AI and algorithms and whatnot, we know that the digital theater is just as important, if not more, than the actual theater of war. So I would submit to all Indians tuning in, politically we could be different and that's okay. I got a younger brother, I got an elder brother, we have diversity of opinions and we still come together, we look after each other, no matter how different we are politically. You and I and the rest of us are brothers in arms and sisters in arms. We are one country. We could have political differences, but everybody has a role to play. It's a team sport. And I think that it's time for us to be reasonable, but at the same time help the global population appreciate a holistic picture. And this is something that's worthwhile talking about. In a few days, you'll find the New York Times, the WAPOs, usual suspects, BBCs, all these guys cranking up the narrative against India. And the question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So sure, you can emotionally outcry, and you could, and maybe some of us may lose a loved one, who knows, such as war. You could emotionally outcry, or you could be skilled in your approach, which I know you're capable of, and clinical, and unpack reality from ground zero. So regardless of your political persuasion, this is your chance to be reasonable and illustrate that, like me, and you too have love for the country regardless of our politics, and you will stand by your country during moments of crisis. And I would submit this with the greatest degree of love, affection, and respect for our brethren. We could have our political differences later, but this is a moment of war when your people and mine are under siege.
Why do you think Pakistan at this moment announced regarding UK and US, etc.? It was a strategy, I assume. It won't come out of the blue like that, isn't it?
Sorry, Ganesh, can you repeat that, please?
See, this Pakistani personnel who announced that there was involvement of UK, etc., US he named, and other countries he named. It was not out of the blue. I mean, it was a strategic move to get those countries involved to help Pakistan or something like that, isn't it? Something was there behind his mind for announcing that at this moment, isn't it?
Excuse me, sorry. So, I think this is likely to be a, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, pardon me. So, it's likely to be a situation where the Pakistani armed forces will have to seem like they're brave in front of the people. And it's the reason why Shahid Afridi, Shoaib Akhtar, names that all of us are familiar with, these cricketers from Pakistan who've benefited from the Indian monetary system. tremendously, they keep playing to the gallery of the masses and they keep reiterating rhetorics constantly. So the Pakistani army is already losing credibility within their country, as you would know. Therefore, they have to seem like either they are rank victims or they're rank perpetrators. There is no in between. So they would use every arsenal, every chink in their armor to make sure that they peril. Right now, they seem to have settled for the victim position, but along with that would come a position of being this incredibly powerful, only Islamic country with nuclear bombs and F-16s, and how they gave us a muto jawab. And so it's going to happen in tandem, and the global media will participate in this, Ganesh. You will see it. It's going to happen.
See, if US denies that it had any kind of role in disturbing Indians, then it would be a case where Pakistan has fallen flat on their face for another case of telling lies in public.
Yeah, but he's not too sensitive to that, because for him, what his people think is more relevant. For the whole world, remember, even Osama bin Laden never really happened, because the people have bought this bullshit that Osama bin Laden never really happened. Did you see the dead body? I didn't. Who knows? Propaganda by them evil Americans. Blah, blah, blah. So the thing is, I would submit a slightly different approach. Expect the Americans and the British to have somewhat supported the Pakistani army, somewhat, which is, it's our enemy, it's not theirs, in their assessment. So the way to go about this is to see how to seduce the Americans and the Chinese more particularly into the Indian camp, and this is all statecraft. And we have to be able to give them plum investment opportunities into India and get them to drop the bag. And when they do so, Pakistan has a tendency to beautifully calibrate, and you got to respect your opponent. What he does is, until now, he was in the American schema, and then the writing was on the wall. The Americans had enough of his BS, but then quickly enough, he jumped into the Chinese schema, and now the Chinese have his back. So India is going to have to wean away all of Pakistan's supporters by giving them access, and I think India has done well, as you would have noticed. We recently, Silver, I know you're waving, we'll get back in just a bit. I'm not done here, so pardon me. So, the thing is that India's done well to do a free trade agreement with the UK, as you would have noticed, Ganesh, yesterday. And I think these are important ones to do, to bring in detractors as part of your side, and over long time preferences begin to drain the swamp. We have to do that over long-time preferences and not emotionally outrage against some F-16 spare parts being given to Pakistan. That's the name of the game. It's going to happen, but the question is, how do we get them to cooperate more with us? And that's all long-term. Indian economy has to grow, and keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Bring them closer to you, and give them enough of a dog in the fight so that they begin to bat for you.
So there is a huge involvement of Chinese economy in India. So I don't think China will do some drastic thing. It is unlikely. So Pakistan is again on the wrong boots. But they are counting on them. I don't think they will help them big time.
So the Chinese see the world in many grays. This is something that the world is continuing to learn about. That they don't see it in black and white terms. That typically the Western narrative, I'm not saying is simplistic, but it's more black and white, and they're categorical, and that has benefits. It lends itself to scale. It's more scalable, and global cooperation and domination alike are more easy to achieve with the categorical approach. So there's wisdom in that. But the Chinese tend to see the world in many hues. So there's 50 shades of grays, I guess, ostensibly so, between black and white. And the Chinese will continue to fund the Pakistanis at the same time intensify economic cooperation with you. So the question is India also going to play the same game by saying, okay, if you're going to fund the terrorists in Pakistan and seek economic collaboration with me, there's no reason why I can't continue to sustain that. So So Chinese interests in Pakistan perhaps will have to be more keenly looked at. And at the same time, India will have to wean away China from Pakistan by presenting itself as a much more credible, viable, prosperous society than Pakistan. Chinese are not stupid. Everybody understands, the power of wealth and prosperity. And India offers just that. So the question is, Pakistan is a hedging mechanism for India's adversaries. And over time, you'll find more countries. As India rises, real estate around India becomes more valuable. Because then they can train their guns, they can do a whole bunch of things against you. So to tactfully defang that and skillfully bring them under your sphere of influence is going to be the need of the century, not just the hour. So we can't emotionally outrage. We have to accept it and then try to, wean them towards us, I'm afraid.
I don't think China is currently, though it is helping Pakistan, stating that it is sounding independent.
Get roast for
It's
it,
a
bro.
big threat to
How
India
many
as of
resolves in,
now,
I think,
what I
15
see.
minutes. It gets you going for
I don't know if this is fake news, I haven't fact checked it, but apparently China has already said that Pakistan has the right to respond. I'm just putting that out there.
Okay.
But I haven't fact checked it, but this is apparently what the Chinese have said. Breaking today after the strikes, retaliatory.
So it has been doing that almost all the time, right? China.
Yes, but insofar as today's event, where we stand now, apparently the Chinese have said this, saying that, so the Chinese are calibrating this in a way where India is the offender, because language matters, and subtext matters, fine print matters. And by characterizing Pakistan's attack as a counterattack, the Chinese are also helping shape the narrative that India was the offender. So that gives us an inkling of an idea as to what China will do.
See, when China is doing that unnecessarily, when it knows very well, it is not that its intelligence is not aware of what things have happened. It is leaving a footprint for the world to know what it is. And it also shows that China is also afraid of India in its progress. So that is a sign that we are going in the right directions. And that kind of fear should be there in the world. I mean, you can't mess around with India for a long time. They should have it at the back of their mind.
Yes, so look, it is a tough calibration for all of us. And I think more than ever before, India now needs to go the full Monty and bring in China into her sphere. And, once upon a time, who could forget that India and America were in different camps? And then now they seem to be waltzing in the dance floor together. No permanent friends and enemies, I'm afraid, as you would know all too well, Ganesh. And this is the name of the game. This is the life we've chosen. And, we have to rise above this and say, okay, you did, I did, okay. So, but all that is bygones. How can we meaningfully engage each other for a more... China is likely to do a deal with you now because of Trump. Trump has put China underneath the microscope. The whole world, generally speaking, building an anxiety against Chinese, hegemony within quotes. So China is more malleable to do a deal with you, and hence assuage, domestic concerns of job losses and whatnot. So when he's vulnerable, and most vulnerable, even though he's doing slight things on the side, it might be an opportune moment for India to see the writing on the wall, bring the Chinese to your side. And you could still have these minor skirmishes. If you must, you and I can still play cricket, but, that's fine. But you should be on my side. And this is something that Indians will have to handle with a great degree of nuance and maturity.
See, I won't name any countries, but I would say that India is not ignorant about the vulnerabilities at various ends in the world, and it knows to put that to use. And we always try to put that to good use. We have not attacked any country aggressively so far in the entire history that I'm aware of. So, having said that, if somebody is trying to be over smart with things, I mean, that's not going to work for long.
Yes, I'd say focus on the economy, get accelerate Chinese investments in India, and this is unpopular position to take in India at this point in time. But accelerate Chinese participation in the Indian economy, get some buying power with the Chinese, so that they're able to not hurt you when the chips are down the most. When there are resolutions in the offing, you need to build more. China is a relationship-oriented country. And this is a fundamental difference between the East and the West that sometimes Indians will have to focus on. That if you build a relationship with them, they wouldn't let you go no matter what. It's a relationship-oriented society. And look at Pakistan.
US is too late to respond to China's growth in the wrong direction.
And in that darkness, eyes staring back at me. Brown eyes.
Yes, but before that, the point I was trying to submit is, since Chinese people, generally speaking, respond well to relationships, Indians and Pakistanis have taken full advantage of that, right? Because even during 9/11, during Osama bin Laden, China didn't condemn Pakistan. Don't forget that. And so, when Chinese, generally speaking, tend to back you all the way through, for good or bad, that's not the point, but this is the qualia of China. So India will have to slowly but steadily build confidence with China. You are the smaller country, and there's no point in allowing pride to get in the way. Larger countries will have tantrums, that's just a fact, but India will have to develop the skills to get them to see why India is a secure, better investment than Pakistan, and build relationship with Chinese so that over 10 years, 15 years, long time preferences, you're able to reverse the scales. And generally speaking, Indians need to be strategic in our interest. Our interest, what did China do to the US? China said, I'll lay low, bite time, first point. Second point, they said, I will take all the technology from the US and accelerate my industrialization. 3, I'll secure plum deals from them. And they never got into any altercation until the last few years.
See, I think China is trying to...
So India can actually do it back to China, Ganesh, saying, I don't want to pick a fight with you. You're sitting on a bunch of technology I need access to. I need jobs. You're becoming expensive to conduct business out of. Chinese business guys know this. Vietnam, the modern success story, ASEAN are all funded by the Chinese. So China has surplus money, it's got technology, and they're becoming expensive for their own businesses to operate out of. So India can learn from the Chinese trick book and say, I'm going to have to work with this guy, don't pick a fight with him, resist where it's important, but don't fall for a narrative where Pakistan will say China and I are best friends, whatever I say, China does. You got to be more, as a country, we have to be more skillful than that.
I think the market might go up. I don't know why that's my... Let's see what happens. What do you think about that?
Sorry, say that again, please, Ganesh.
Today the Indian market is going up, isn't it?
Yes, it will continue to rise, and that's one of the things. The Pakistani market will possibly go down, and it's in an open society, markets give you a sense of the pulse of the people. And the fact that
no matter how much you tell lies on the media, the public at large understands where it is. So where the market goes today in India and Pakistan, we will know the truth.
Yes, but the question is, what will the market do tomorrow? Because if Pakistan stages a fight, then if they strike you back tonight, for example, what will the Bombay Stock Exchange do tomorrow? This is the question. So I would submit that have 10-year positions in the market as ever, Ganesh, you're a smart guy, and say that anything that happens within 10 years is just white noise, brown noise, whatever. And larger markers of the market usually emerge trend lines over 10 years and continue to focus and consolidate there. One of the things, I'm glad you brought this up because Startup India, as you know, has funded many defense startups. One of the things that as a trend line from a market perspective, not to speak about money during a tragic hour, but from a social capacity perspective, is the listing and the scaling up of defense startups in India.
Now that you brought up the defense thing, I think today the defense stocks may go up, probably.
Yes, defense stocks, blue chips, of course, and then you have the emerging order where you have well-funded startups. And now the Indian government may be investing in capacities by placing orders and underwriting their order books by saying, here is a drone company, for example, and I used to need 100 drones, now I need 5,000 drones in the next 6 months. And give you the advances and the assurances that the government will not back out of it no matter what, and what that means to valuations and potential listings in the public, in the bourses, is something that is worthwhile tracking. Indian defense startups will tend to do very, very well.
So, hi Raghu, are you there? Comedian, Madhura, Vajra.
Yeah, we're trying to get more voices in the house. If you guys want to weigh in, that'll be wonderful. Comedian, are you still there, bro? Raghu?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just sitting there. I'm sitting here watching YouTube videos. I mean, I don't know. This is like seems to be, the never-ending story, the song that never ends. It's just, unfortunate, and these drone startups. I don't know if you've seen any of the war footage from Ukraine, but Russia has, and the Ukrainians, because of U.S. Technology coming out of Silicon Valley with regards to these. I don't know. You wouldn't call them automated drones, but you would call them like precision strike drones, where they're able to, through video cameras, essentially detonate in target-rich environments and deploy from fields, and maybe even there's some automation maybe with these drones because they're acting like landmines that just come to life and make very smart targeting decisions. So it's just remarkable how these drones have in a way turned the tide against larger weapon systems, meaning that artillery, transportation, everything is impacted by these drones in a way that they weren't impacted before. It used to be kind of more symmetrical, and now these drones have uh, completely changed the battle landscape and have become a major priority. I think the U.S. is making a big push and planning on fully adopting and deploying these types of drone technologies in all their army and marine, and basically the infantry type of deployment where they're becoming so important. And then you think about the naval sea battles and how drones or hypersonic missiles can cause mass chaos to very large weapon systems like aircraft carriers or battle um, larger naval vessels. So I'm just saying that technology has caught up very quickly, and the Russia-Ukraine conflict has spurred this massive innovation in militarized automation and simplistic drones. I mean, I don't know if you remember that one video of the drone swarms, where like a C-130 airplane drops thousands of drones above a target and essentially completely rendering entire cities neutered. Don't leave your house, otherwise the smart drone is going to fly towards your forehead and detonate. So these things are real and they're really being rolled out. And so yeah, India has maybe a huge advantage. Because I don't know, maybe they can just de-escalate. That would be the best thing for India and for Pakistan. Um,
Yeah, but just you touched upon what I think is a super important point, right? How low-cost weapons seem to offer a sophisticated solution, which is drones, and I think it's a very important point. But as much as drone technology seems to scale up, so is anti-drone tech. So I think there are 4 countries in the world now. India's joined that club, albeit lately, which has built the technology or have built the technology to basically disarm drones by using some kind of a scramming whatever to completely paralyze drones the moment they get into a certain visibility range. And then as that technology begins to scale up, you're likely to have beyond visible range capacities wherein you're able to pick up the advent of drones and perhaps paralyze them many, many miles away. And you're right, but over a period of time, you'll find creative societies to respond to this challenge um, vigorously. One of the things that we need to think about is supply of drones by the Chinese to the Pakistanis. This is something to weave this back into the point you were making, where potentially you have a swamp drone kind of a thing, but a lot has been said about these drones. But the problem, comedian, a challenge for these technologies is they need to be dynamic at the location of the war. You could feed in a bunch of coordinates and fly them, and they could perhaps judiciously, some of them, get through the wall and cause havoc. But you need to have a current live network in order for the systems to be dynamic. And the fact that we don't have a network globally, which can't be penetrated, is something that the drone companies aren't telling you. So these swamp drones aren't dynamic. They're dynamic in Beijing or in a certain hotspot, but beyond that, they don't seem to have much of a utility. Although they can cause the occasional problem for open societies, no question.
Yeah, I mean, I know India has, a lot of satellites, and Starlink is assisting the Ukrainians in deployment of their targeting weapons, with drones and other weapon systems. But China is also licensing their satellite technology for targeting purposes to Russia. And look at Yemen. They're using Chinese satellite technology to target missiles into Israel. So I don't know. I don't know how advanced the Pakistani army is. I assume they're actually pretty rudimentary, and so their rhetoric and propaganda is kind of indicates that they are not necessarily prepared for a large scale war. Thus, their asymmetrical capabilities, and as you said earlier, their terror squads in India, which are sleeper cells, can cause mass chaos and panic. And so, if India escalates the war, then you'll have these microaggressions to counterbalance the larger scale conflict. And so, India is just in a very precarious, delicate position where it has to really choose diplomacy, strength, and security. And otherwise, it's Pandora's box.
Yes, and just to address anti-drone as an industry, not just a technology, but there's a whole industry that's been getting built up in India on this. We seem to have developed critical technologies and capacities using the domestic startup ecosystem schema in order to push back against these modern weapons, low-cost weapons that all kinds of weird people can get a hand on, and it would hopefully help us understand the enormous challenges that are ahead, no question. But also, the ray of hope is that there are things that we can do and indeed are doing, but way more work ahead in order to address this. This is a problem, and India has to look into it very, very seriously. It's also exasperated by the fact that you have the world's longest hostile border. There's no other country in the world that has almost 4,000 kilometers of hostility, starting from Pakistan all the way down to China, now Bangladesh, Cambodia, and whatnot. So these low-cost systems are designed to create panic and havoc in local villages in regions afar from the capital of India, and disrupt regular lives and things like that. So it's important for India to scale up anti-drone technology and position it in places that are far-flung, where it's likely to have a nuisance impact significantly higher than they would in the mainland.
Yeah, I would imagine China is like a major manufacturer of, anti-drone technologies. I mean, they're so advanced in their manufacturing and at such scale, it's unbelievable. And when you just look at your average commercial drone technology and how most of that stuff comes out of China, I assume, these low cost toys with C4 explosives. Um, I don't know if you know what a mesh network is, but like, if there's some way to essentially create a network that is, impenetrable, I mean, it is an amazing advancement in technology. And then when you mix in automated tech targeting technologies and AI, like it is the future of war. And it's just ridiculous that we as humans invest so much time and money and capital and startups to creating automated weapons of death, but it's just the nature of technology to constantly, process, improve, and uh, scale down and scale up at the same time. So it's just unbelievable what we do to ourselves as human beings instead of, building farms and shared resources. I mean, India and Pakistan could be great brothers and sisters. And I've never met a Pakistani that I didn't like, and I've never met an Indian I didn't like. So it's just, it's same thing with Israel Palestine. I don't know if you've ever been there either, but I mean, everybody's great on both sides. It's the governments that keep misappropriating our dollars to invest in supposed security. But then you have these terrorist cocksuckers that ruin the party for everybody. And this is the problem with angry, violent, radicalized people. And God knows what they're trying to achieve or what they're thinking, or how they're co opted or how they're put into these types of positions, or if there's other sinister aspects.
So you saying it is no honesty left? Is that what you're saying? There's no honesty left?
No, there's never been honesty, meaning like all wars have been based on deception and false flags. I mean, you can't get hundreds of thousands of people to go to another city to ruthlessly murder all those people in those city. I mean, look at, I don't know how much you know about Roman history, but when you look at the genocides and the enslavements and the profiteering from conquest, it's the biggest business, because it's pure profit. It's, you just take it, there's so there is no honesty in war. It's all based on deception. That's the art of war, is to deceive. Otherwise, you lose. It's really just how immoral can you be to win, meaning that, especially if nobody finds out. I mean, uh, but that's the secret, is to win by letting nobody find out. I mean, so India has a capability that Pakistan does not have, and it's just a question of willpower. But it's also a question of how crazy are you going to get, because there's that, what is it called? It's like that Roman victory where you don't actually win. Pericles' victory, I think. But anyways, meaning that even if you win the war, you actually lost it because you spent so much blood and toil and resources. So look at America. Yes, we have the Federal Reserve and basically unlimited money to shit on the world, but the problem is we suffer from inflation, and then there's it's just war profiteering. It's offshoring dollars to tax havens for, the wealth, for wealthiest people on the planet. I mean, it's never going to end. And hopefully, though, it's done with intelligence. And I think Trump is one of those people who carries a big stick and walks with strength, but also intelligence in the sense that it's not that there's a frugality to war. You can't really win a war unless you practice frugality, and it's a like a herd frugality. You know, the people of India don't want high taxes. The people of India want no taxes. The people of India want prosperity. Same thing with Pakistan. Say what you want about Islam and the psychological and uh, problems with the Quran and the history and everything else.
Yeah, but you can say whatever you want, no problem. But you tell me now what's happening with the Ukraine and Russia. How it's going to end? You tell me now.
I don't know. I think it'll de-escalate, and Ukraine will have to cede land to Russia, and Ukraine will still forever be paranoid that Russia's going to reinvade. They are training their population with the most hardcore propaganda you could ever imagine. All young people are being trained in how to dress and undress AK-47s
Oh,
and shoot.
I thought it was a NATO issue. I thought that was a NATO issue.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, NATO should just go away. The U.S. should stop funding it. I mean, let Europeans deal with their own security. You know, why are U.S. taxpayers paying for European security? It's insane.
So the problem in that proposition is, I try to learn about this as much as possible, and part of the reason why America is a global superpower, the only one, and China is not a superpower, but the U.S. is. They will be sometime soon in the next impending decade, but at this moment they're not. And the reason why that happens is because dollar acceptance across the world is central to the American, hegemony. And people only use the dollar, because it comes with advantages, because it's the ultimate promise that you can make, particularly to people that you can't trust. And the problem is that if the US wants the dollar to be cherished, which I think is central, we'll all agree, to US interests, otherwise this kind of a printing press economy doesn't work. It doesn't work. Then the US will have to cut some slack for partners and allies and whatnot. And a part of that is to fund the NATO and to bring in global stability. That's the reason why the dollar is accepted. And the moment the US says, well, which is perfectly rational, right? Don't get me wrong. From an American perspective, it's perfectly rational for them to say, let the Europeans do it. But comedian, the problem with that is, and I say this with the greatest degree of respect, is that if the Europeans erect the EDF, which is, as you know, the defense force, European defense force, and if the US abandons the NATO, then it's going to compromise over long-time preferences the need for the world to embrace the dollar as though it is the ultimate promise to be made. And that's going to wreak havoc in the US economy. So one can't have the cake and eat it. And if the US wants the dollar to remain the principal currency of the world, then the US has to be seen to participate in running the world through institutions like the NATO, the World Trade Organization, and whatnot. And a part of that is to subsidize costs for other countries. And I'm afraid otherwise the US will be compromising something that's more vital to it, which is the future of the dollar.
Yeah, America is paying $100 billion a month on a $40 trillion mortgage. It's not sustainable, and taxpayers should be up in arms. I mean, we need a peace movement in America because at $100 billion a month, even if we start paying down the debt, that means now we're paying, let's say, 90 billion a month, then maybe 87 billion a month. So it just never ends. We have created a debt bubble spiral that it historically it only seems like war is the way to resolve debts. And so I don't know what these baby boomers are going to do, but I have an opinion that these baby boomers are that we could be on the precipice of World War III if we're not already in it. I mean, the Russia-Ukraine conflict is so devastating and bad, and you may live in your little bubble wherever you live and I live, but we've been untouched by these conflicts, and it is a world at war, and it is like a hidden World War III in many ways.
Ah. Well, so the thing is, insofar as the way in which US can respond to something like this is concerned, just to weave it back into that, right? Part of the challenge for the US is to make sure that it pays off its debts really well and figure out a way to do it without raising the debt ceiling every year, which is something that Congress seems to have routinely, it seems to have gotten into a habit of doing that, breaching the debt ceiling, as you would know all too well. And part of that is perhaps to maybe sell off some of US assets within the mainland to trusted partners, raise the corpus that's required to pay off the debt, and swear to never, be frivolous by getting into a 20-year unending war, putting children of somebody else's at risk forever. And the way to do that are more options up the U.S. sleeve than merely having to worry about this. I think they're likely to explore these options to get more inventive and creative to build the balance sheet, the American balance sheet, national balance sheet. It can be done. And I think America is, way too powerful, way too wise, way too sharp, and has the cunning to do that. What I would worry about is, however, a withdrawal of America from global institutions, wherein, it yields and cedes space. Nature hates vacuum, right? It just the moment you have vacuum, you have gunk filling it up. And all kinds of weirdos taking those positions and, leading to chaos across the world. So I think that American presence across the world, generally speaking, is a good thing. This is not to say that America is beyond criticism. One should assess things more carefully. But I would be very, very careful about U.S. withdrawal from global institutions. I would be very, very careful about that. Just to top that up, if I may, the U.S. needs allies more than she did ever before. Because if you are to keep this green machine running, you're going to need people that are willing to accept it. And the way to do that is to inspire confidence in them. Like, imagine if you're a business guy and you have creditors waiting, and if you need more money, the way to do it is not to go to war with your current creditors, but instead woo future creditors with reasonable deals, perhaps take a haircut, but be willing to work with them and inspire confidence. And this is when the US needs diplomacy forward, push massive charm offensive, bring in every major country, already major or one day major, will be major, into their sphere of influence, tactfully, skillfully, and secure the future of the dollar for the foreseeable future. And this is all art. It's not a question of bringing a gun to the table. It's not going to work. People are proud, and everybody's proud who isn't. And they're not going to respond to that very well, given the world we live in. But sheer charm offensive that the US has, she has a beautiful side to her. And showing up to the party with that tuxedo and wooing and seducing your friends, and this is something that the US does very, very well, and I would submit that she considers doing that more keenly at this point in time. Comedian, I have a question for you, if I may. Comedian, are you there? that are just tuning in, hello to you. India has launched, as you might know, Operation Sindoor, which is a testimony to motherhood and women in India that have already lost their loved ones, aka their sons, husbands, boyfriends, as the case may be, to an act of terror funded entirely by Pakistan, the state. And to commemorate, if you will, those horrific deaths, 26 innocent lives being lost, one of them Nepalese and the other one, other 25 being Indian, particularly Hindu. And what does it matter which country and which religion you belong to, after all, if you're dead? And so India has launched this thing called Operation Sindoor, and we seem to have responded to Pakistani acts of terrorism by bringing down terror infrastructure, what is seen to be the first of a series of attacks, which will no doubt follow quickly. And now the cat has been set amongst the pigeons. If Pakistan seeks to retaliate yet again and go up the risk going up the escalation ladder, there will be counter responses. So now it's up to Pakistani wisdom, if there is any such thing left in that country, to seek to de-escalate or risk losing it all. So for those of you that are within India, that are traveling inside, watch the government's advisory very, very carefully. Avoid certain areas. If there are instructions from the government in case of escalation, follow orders very, very clearly. No need to be too creative. The planners and the policymakers and the armed forces and security apparatus of the country know what they're doing, and this is your chance to play your part. And sometimes it's just to listen and obey instructions that have been given to you by enlightened men and women at the helm of affairs. So if you're instructed to follow drills, please do so. Try to avoid broadcasting online what's happening, Instagram, Facebook, whatnot. Resist the finger. Anything you do will be watched by people that are your adversaries. Don't give away intel in a hurry. This is not a religious war. For those of you that are predisposed towards thinking that it isn't. It is an act of war by the state of Pakistan against your people, our people, and the people of the world. And please don't succumb to rhetoric against traditions, anybody's religion. Do not succumb to this. It's a willful trap laid out by those that hate your kind and mine. Everything you stand for is hated by them. So the last thing you need to do is to play into the trap and start cussing at somebody else's religion. Do not do that. This is India, and this is a pluralistic society where everybody's truth is accepted. And the way you conduct yourself has to be a testimony, and you are the custodian of that tradition of inclusivity. Spare the innocent so that you can sharpen your knives against the complicit.
Yeah, the other problem you have is wherever a conflict breaks out with Muslims, there always seems to be a jihadist effect where international jihadists come to fight for the honor of other Muslims. So, without de escalation, you end up getting like an ISIS caliphate effect with a lot of, especially with the polarization of media and how it becomes a mind virus. So, the propaganda war is very important in terms of de-escalation and prevention of spreading uh, you know images and videos of and lies, fake narratives. I mean, the whole Israeli Palestinian Gaza conflict is a perfect example of one of the most polarized media events of all time on both sides. And so it's an integral part of war now, is the communication aspect.
I'm afraid so. So we have a press conference scheduled by the Indian government, and of course the military attaché is in about an hour and a half. That's in 90 minutes. And the Indian government will report to the Indian people as to what's transpired overnight and give you a factual summary of events. and so that you know exactly what to do and how to optimize and what to expect. And we have to wait and watch. Until then, you're likely to have a whole bunch of news that circulate online. It's best not to, one way or the other, whether it's for India or against it, it's best to not get too overwhelmed by it. Take it with a pinch of salt and wait for the government to give you precise updates, blow by blow accounts of what's likely to happen, what has happened last night. Also, for those of them that were warmongering in India, the media channels and whatnot, as though this is a game where nobody gets hurt. Thank you for not informing the Indian people the cost of war. And I say this with a degree of sarcasm in case that misses anybody. We've had a groundswell of public opinion against Pakistan and appreciate what the media did to galvanize that. Of course, that's important. But I think somewhere in this journey, we should have warned and reminded people that war is a painful act where innocents and civilians will die. And I don't think we've touched on that nerve. So congratulations for those of us that wanted this war. And congratulations to the media that built it up. And now, we have to wait and watch and see how this pathetic tendency to egg on a tragedy and applaud it with no integrity whatsoever. Sometimes it really baffles me how people can warmonger, certainly from Pakistan, but also from certain sections of Indian society. This is it's a problem. But good luck to you guys. If your parents are flying across within the country, or loved ones, your school friends, whoever, right now somebody is taking the boat back home. Somebody you love is queuing up in an airport right now, as we speak. And we got to spare a moment for those of them that are likely to be disconnected from the grid, and hope and pray that they go back home to their loved ones as soon as possible safely. A part of the reason why India took all of 12 days is to make sure that she stocks up, she allows people to warm up to this, the consequences of war and get people back to safe harbors as soon as possible. It's part of the reason why India took her time. And, we don't know how civilian life is going to be disrupted in this country for the next foreseeable future, the 2 weeks or impending week, or whenever Pakistan chooses to retaliate.
Yeah, I often wonder, like, responses, meaning like no response versus response, or the scale of the response. I don't know how people view India's response to the terror attacks by launching, coordinated attacks, but strength, is sort of relative. So I don't know. I think the best strategy is always to be like a ninja, where you don't make a big bang. You don't flash a lot of jewelry or make a big light. You do targeted assassinations, Don Corleone mafia style, and you take out the enemy that way. A surgery as opposed, to it blowing up the hospital. So, that's but again, I mean, then sometimes you make a big response to do a show of force, to make a big splash, to get into the mind's eye that, this is a significant event, which maybe the bigger the flash in the mind's eye, the bigger the de-escalation. Um, so I don't know. There's just so many ways to always analyze these things, but you know, I don't see Islam as being a religion of peace. I see Hinduism as being a religion of peace, and if that's the case, that would mean that India has to be the bigger brother and say, hey, we are 6,000 years old. You're just 600 years old, and as the big brother, we are going to demonstrate our strength through peace in a way by not. Um, Not that they shouldn't be punished, but that it has to be done psychologically, intelligently, um, for India's best possible outcome.
It's just so beautiful. Like some of these gospel songs, it's just crazy. Yeah.
Recognize patterns and the difference between things, right? Okay, I can understand that point in regards to this idea of mathematics, but that would still be only developed by understanding the difference, right? And you can even have some type of like bombs floating around. They have to wait until they hit something. Bro, in order to make another duplication of itself. They don't have viruses do not move on their own.
debate them.
Somebody please Google, do viruses move on their own?
No,
I
they
said
don't need to
Google
do that.
did.
He just said debate them.
I think you need Negro
I asked.
Oh. Hey, Misha, how's it going on?
Anyway, do you guys want to see this picture of Reese?
Why you gotta keep deleting my motherfucking comments?
That's not me.
You're some special Negro that's not violent, and like what, like is it because like you hang around white people? Like what made you not so violent?
So this is a Houston, this is a Harris County captain that
Spoken the slaves. I was right next to him.
I think you have to like be on the stage maybe or to the side.
Yeah. Hey, you can see it. Yeah, you see the guy with the burgundy slave.
Somebody just.
There is one side that there is two guys, and one side that there is three. On the side of the tree, right behind the guy that far away from the kitchen, there is stairs.
Oh, so you have to step up to be on the stage.
Yeah.
What
There
happened?
must be some breaking news.
Where?
I don't know. Someone just wrote, is there any information on the names of the 3 hostages who were killed?
3 hostages that got killed.
That's what someone just wrote. So now I'm going to go on Jewish breaking news and see if I can find something. Nothing here.
This place is huge.
Is it really? Is it the first
Oh
time
my
here?
god. No. But I wasn't here for 5 years.
Okay, here's what I got. Hold on. Trump says 3 Israeli hostages held in Gaza have died. Donald Trump said that 3 more hostages held by Hamas in Gaza have died, bringing the number still alive to 21. Well, we've gone very slowly, Trump said, of efforts to end this conflict because we want to try and get as many hostages saved as possible, and we've done a good job in that regard. 2 weeks ago, I had continued. Is this from today? Hold on. Was it only 2 weeks ago? It was more than 2 weeks ago. No, this is from Tuesday, May 6th. Okay, this is not. So May 6th, they had more than
May 6th is today.
Oh, it is today. Okay, so let me keep reading. 2 weeks ago, I had 10 hostages come in and they thanked me profusely. Trump continued the Oval Office meetings was in fact 2 months ago with 8 former hostages. The president then appeared to recount a conversation with the freed hostages about how many captives remained in Gaza. I said, how many people are left? Trump said they said 59. I said, oh, wow, that's more than I thought. They said, well, only 24 are living, but now it's 21. Trump added, without revealing the source of his information, that was a week ago. Now it's 21 are living. I say 21 because of today, it's 21, 3 have died. He did not provide any further details. This is a terrible situation, and the Israel military, in its most recent update, said that 251 people abducted, 58 are still held in Gaza, including 34 believed to be dead. Israel's military resumed its offensive in Gaza on March 18th, ending a 2-month truce that saw a surge in aid in the war. Hamas attacks resulted in the death of 1,218 people on the Israeli side, mostly civilians. The health ministry in Gaza said that at least 2,507 people had been killed since Israel resumed its campaign. That's it. They didn't name who's dead.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I don't know. I don't know.
It might mean he got news and they're gonna break it tomorrow. Or after they tell families. And also 6 hours ago he reported it in the Jerusalem Post.
I just hope that they're gonna look. There is one thing that we all need to understand. Those hostages not gonna come out alive.
What, the 21?
Yeah. Okay. You tell me how many times you find you wrong.
I found you wrong once.
When?
I'm not gonna say it here.
Why?
Because I don't want to say it.
No, feel free.
When you thought someone, I don't know who's coming. I don't know who everybody is. I'm not gonna say that. When you thought Chaver Shalanu Hayam.
What's the pressure? What's the pressure? Bitch, why the fuck? Bitch, why the fuck you do them up your leg like that? Because them niggas don't even work the like the niggas yeah, like you could just see like they was trying to, happy for each other and shit, like it's how big body each other out, but I'm fucking weak. Like that shit had me in fucking tears. He's talking about you big fat messy motherfucker. Oh well, I deserve this. Grow up, Time to pray, I'll pray another time. I'm busy.
Get your you bitch ass nigga, get the fuck up here. Pussy.
You're stupid. That's who got fucking fired, bro. Because you're fucking stupid. I let him through. But you are fucking going with people who don't give a fuck about you, bro. You stupid fucking bitch. You could be a fucking nigga.
No, but what we all have in common is that whites, Middle Easterners, Asians, everybody, you know what they all want in America when they move here? None of them want to live around niggers. They want to live in a nigger-free zone where it's nice and safe. Their children don't have to deal with monkeys, okay? A fucking chimp zoo daycare. No, that's the fact.
My mom's white.
Okay, so you're a quadroon or you're half.
This is why nobody finds black women attractive.
The suggestion of Elon Musk. Okay, she's tripping out. So just like,
oh yeah, no. You need to kind of get your shit straight, bro. Can we put her on ice? No.
This is too good. It's too good. They haven't invented ice.
So was you said your mom was?
Hey, let's fucking do it, you fucking.
What's up, street? You fucking
douchebag,
sublet,
bro.
like you Negro. What the fuck you want to say, bitch?
Belligerents, bro. I fucking.
What belligerents, you fucking dumbass? Why don't you say something articulate?
Belligerents, man.
Go ahead and express yourself. I'm gonna be quiet. I want you to come up. I want you to make a good argument. Go ahead.
I fucking hate belligerents, man. I'm trying to get to understand.
What do you mean?
I don't know what the fuck you're saying. You fucking chimp.
I fucking hate belligerents, bro. You're the fucking
belligerents. Amazing.
Nora, you
be specific about what you don't like that you heard.
Now that
You fucking retard.
saying the fucking N-word, and you see what you did? You dumb bitch. Dumb bitch. You dumb bitch, Nora.
I just hear a bunch of monkeys
Look what you
chirping
did.
like
Look what you did. Look what you did. Look what you did.
There you go. We've got enough of this one. Put her down. Put her in timeout.
They hate your fucking religion. They think that your religion is the reason for the downfall of the Western
You know what? The Muslims are right about one thing. During the Muslim slave trade, you know what they did? They clipped every nigga that got taken as a slave. They ended up clipping his nuts. That's why in the Middle East you don't see many black people or black. I'm being dead serious. People of black ancestry. Why? They're like, wow, these monkeys can't reproduce. They're a fucking biohazard. They practice responsible farming. They handle their farming equipment responsibly. They did not let it go out of hand like it did in the United States, unfortunately. I mean, the Muslims kind of did that better than us.
You are straight fucking.
I'm a straight pussy.
Fucking dick sucker. You fucking cocksucker. Slow down.
Go ahead. I want to hear what this North American caveman ape has to say. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say, Street.
Hey, fucking what's that cracker?
A pussy ass crack. Okay, what are you gonna do about it,
Bro, just fucking slow down, right, Craig?
What are you gonna do about it? I'm a pussy ass crack.
You
wanna pull up so I can take my belt off and spank the shit out of your black ass? Is that what you want? You wanna get welts on those chocolate cheeks, you fucking faggot? You enjoy it, you fucking sodomite.
Fucking faggot. You nasty as fuck. Like that.
Yeah, you said spank that shit. You just told his white daddy to spank your shit. You fucking faggot. The only thing you want crack is your black butt cheeks. You want that shit split wide open.
The only thing you can think of is case that you put cracker.
Fucking butt broken.
I fuck your grandma.
What? You go right ahead. I think you'd be doing
I
your
fuck your grandmother, bitch.
You can do what you want. She'll shoot a nigger as soon as it comes unauthorized in
And
her
I have
fucking
a
house.
swallow on this dick.
Pussy.
Fuck boy. And I have a swallow on this dick. Fuck boy. This big black dick. I have
You know what's funny is that maybe she'll call 911 and she's a bad shot, and then what will end up happening is we'll get a police officer kneeling on your nigger neck for 9
Fuck
minutes.
your bitch. I would take your bitch from
And
you.
we'll film your
If I
dumb
fuck
ass
your
die.
bitch, I would take your wife from you. If I fuck your wife, I would take her from you. You guys got little ass
I don't have a wife.
niggas.
If
Niggas
you meet her,
walking
like
around with
tell her
hanging to their knees, boy.
Oh, you got a long dick. That's what you're saying.
I'll tell you, I'll take your wife. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No, you just got a fucking endoscopy scope, you thin ass dick. Fucking monkey. That's all you'll do. You stick it in niggers' buttholes. You're literally.
You is a
That's literally
faggot,
all
bro.
you fucking do.
You is a faggot, bro. I swear to God, you was a white slave.
You
nigga.
do nothing.
was a
You
white
want your
sex
chocolate
slave.
cheeks fucking
You
clapped
was a
by
white
this
sex
cracker.
slave.
You're
That's all you could think about. Damn, you was the crack ass. Took your little manhood and freedom.
Why don't you go back to
key with the
sweaty
white
AIDS
eye.
and venereal diseases?
They threw away the key with the white eye.
Just like, you know.
They threw away the key with the white eye. They turned your ass every way but loose. Faggot.
You want to be locked in a room with me? So you
They turned you every way but loose. Faggot. They turned you every way but loose. Faggot.
I got keys. You know what's funny? Any Which Way But Loose is a movie about a man and a monkey.
Well, this motherfucker's half monkey, so I mean, I don't know.
And you have snowflake.
Here. Or God had a sense of humor. That's why you hated niggers.
I'm half monkey. You have snowflake, bitch. Fuck wrong too. What you call a bunch? Hey, look. What do you call a bunch of white people in the elevator stuff? A box of crackers.
Go ahead.
A box of saltine crackers.
Oh my God.
I just saw a white kid from jumping on the bed. When you put Velcro on the ceiling.
Amazing.
Boo, that was lame as fuck.
Let's keep it going. Go on the best racist jokes. Let's do it.
I like
Let's
you.
do our
Come
best
on,
race.
let's go.
Yeah, go ahead. With your bubble gum lips. Go ahead and tell us a funny
Let's
joke
fucking
about
go.
a saltine cracker.
Let's fucking go. You ready? You fucking ready?
Peppy,
Fucking
go.
ready?
Give us one.
You fucking ready, bro?
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
I'm ready. Go.
Alright, look. Alright, look. Check me out. No, don't laugh now. I'm gonna get on his ass. I swear, don't laugh. I'm gonna get on his ass.
Can you give your transcript?
Yeah, that don't sound gay. Get on
Look,
that.
look.
So one time this nigger went to a doctor's appointment and he was told he was impotent. And so he ended up, on his way back home, he ended up buying a Cadillac, and his wife asked why, and he goes, because the doctor said I was impotent.
Oh shit.
That's fine.
Type shit. That was all you got though. That's all you coming with.
I don't have these like canned jokes that I usually.
No, I'm saying that's all you coming with, cause I'm gonna fire your ass up now.
Oh, go ahead, light my ass up like you fucking light each other up.
Look. What do you call a white person trying to do a crossover and shoot?
I don't know what.
White boy can't jump.
I don't get what's the crossover and shoot for though. I don't get it.
I don't know. It's just this nigger speak.
Oh my god.
Some
What's
of
the
us white
difference
boys
between
can
a bench and a black man?
All hail
For the
Hitler.
family of 5.
All hail Hitler. All hail Hitler. All hail Hitler.
Hail fucking Hitler. Seek hell. White fucking power.
Look, Oksana, I'm gonna have you know that Kitover was married to a black
6 million
man.
was
So
not enough.
that's what you don't
The
know.
rest needs to get wiped out.
The new GTA 6 trailer looks great.
He was black, right?
All hail Hitler.
Yeah, he's a mulatto.
All hail Hitler.
There you go. So she's not racist, Oksana. She was married to a mulatto.
All hail Hitler.
By the way, I'm an 8 black.
She's a dickhead. And hey, I am fighting for whites, now what?
What is it?
That's good. And I'm
What
8.
does that matter?
I'm 1/8 black.
Yeah,
I
she's
had
married to a
one great
black
grandparent that was black. Okay, so I'm an octoroon.
You're not white. You're brown.
I know because I'm an octoroon, but that shit's gonna be
I'm
flushed
part
out by
German.
Laura, you're a sandwich.
I am 5% German. I am 5%.
I'm an octoroon. I'm better than you. You're half black.
Yeah. Either
I'm
way.
literally.
Who gives a fuck?
You literally are you're a few generations away from being this great.
This racist Muslim
There's like
bitch.
Howard
You
Stern's white
dickhead
man.
bitch. There's tons of black people there trying to fucking defend you. You fucking panic over there. Yeah, fuck
She is
her
racist.
now.
She's
You know what?
the
How
whole
about
Africa
nigger?
know
How
her
about
to be
nigger?
racist.
How about nigger?
You know what? No, Palestine. You know, actually, Gaza's kind of
Yeah.
beige.
How about
Racist
Shut
Muslim.
They have the elite quarters where they made all the niggers live in one area. That is fucking amazing. They still practice segregation. Isn't that cool?
Look who's being racist now, cracker.
Yeah. You got the fucking nigger.
He hates being
Now what?
Oh, now what?
Now
Now
what?
what?
Now what?
Is it,
Now
that doesn't
what?
trigger us the way it triggers you.
Okay, cool. So let's not fuck up when I'm talking. Right? Anyways, right?
You ain't
This
saying
bitch.
nothing.
Shut up. This bitch.
You ain't saying nothing, motherfucker. My God.
Wait, how?
Excuse me.
My
Excuse me.
God.
I can't say anything if you keep fucking talking over me. Do you understand? Do you want to fucking stand?
Your existence isn't even supposed to be acknowledged. You fucking.
Oh, it's
The
not.
racist bitch, yeah.
And this is why, actually, more and more, actually, we fuck Palestinians because, again, what
I'm not a Palestinian.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, right?
I'm just saying that there's some
What
overlap.
she
They think
did-
that you some
shut
humans
up.
need to be put in your place.
She broke the threshold, and now look at this shit. But she's not fucking mute. But apparently, free Palestine. Fuck Palestine. And yeah, fucking fuck Gaza.
Well, no, a
Fuck
nigger's speaking
Gaza.
and she's
Fuck
got better things
Gaza.
to do. That's
Fuck
all.
Gaza.
Don't
Fuck
take it
that
personally.
shit, bro. Am I a dickhead, bro? Again. Yeah, but fuck Gaza, bro. Fuck that, bro. Are you mad? Because again, none of you guys said the N-word until she's fucking said it. And when she said it now, everyone's saying it now. Right? Because she's a fucking dead little fucking racist, yeah?
That's because we all hate niggers. That's all. It's just that's nothing personal.
Yeah, it's that.
No, stop. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you that. But she's the shittest Muslim I've ever fucking met. Right? Because for me, yeah, again.
I think they use it with A, so they don't like have shit.
Shut the fuck up. For me,
unlike your people, they don't have these nappy, just like the nappy pubic hairs on your head. You guys have these gnarly beaties all over around your butthole that like sticks to all of the poop, and we try to wipe it off with toilet paper. It doesn't wipe it out well. Because it's so coily. The hair's so coily. Gross. But they rinse their buttholes.
Desperate for what?
I can hear you, right? She's desperate for white men attention, bro. That's why she You guys listen. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. No, black people, no matter black people are still racist. You don't fuck.
Yeah, dude, we have no problem in many more races.
I mean, Mexican. If you go to Mexico, you might hear the word like mayate. You might hear lots of things. It's not that you're pretty. It's that you're a fucking dung beetle. Basically a black beetle that rolls around in its own dung. That's what I'm.
As a marriage, as
I understand that, but
So
I'm
it's just
asking
metaphysically impossible that there would be no God. And because God is the conceived explanation for all that which is necessary.
I understand that, but I'm asking you a very simple question. So God creates the world the way God wants to, whatever the case is, and then okay, look, God is eternal, right? So does that mean that there was always truth, or was God before truth?
What? I mean, I don't really understand the
The
question.
concept of truth is that which comports to reality. What? Am I loud, guys?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I gotta talk a little. So okay, thank you. So she's just trying to embarrass me because she knows people are listening. Okay, there he goes. So sorry about that. So God, basically, so I'm saying that the concept of truth in itself, right? It relates to reality somehow, right? Like if there's no reality, you don't really have truth, right?
Well, no, I mean, truth is just a relationship that holds between descriptions of reality and reality itself.
Okay, so if there is
so
no
to say that something is to say that something is true is just to say that it bears a certain relation to reality.
So I'm saying this: if there's no reality, is there truth?
No, of course not.
Okay, so is God a form of reality? Like, meaning, does God create reality? Is God reality?
Probably.
Like, what's the step when it comes to reality? Did God create the concept of reality? Like, how does reality relate to God?
Yeah, so reality is just the totality of all that which exists. Now, God is existence, but he's not identical to everything which exists.
Okay, so
because so just like redness, it may be exemplified by the red truck and by the apple, but it's not identical to either of them.
Okay, fine. What I'm saying is this. So we know that existence and reality somehow relate, right? What I'm saying is this. If there's no reality, there's no truth, according to you. God exists before reality, right?
Well, no.
Was reality always there with God?
No, reality is just a description of a totality. So it's just a collection of things. There was a point in time where all that reality was God,
Okay, so that means
so prior to creation, we could say.
So there's always been a reality, right? To some degree, how about that?
Yeah, I mean, necessarily and eternally there is reality.
And that's what makes it. There's no way that, like, according to you, that reality couldn't exist. That means that if reality seems to be some kind of precondition, right, then why do you need a God to ground that?
Well, no, because God explains why there is a reality, why anything exists at all.
Because you just said
the reason why there is reality. The reason why there is reality is because something exists. Right? Now, necessarily and eternally, God exists. See, therefore, necessarily and eternally, in virtue of that, reality exists.
Okay, great. So you're saying God is always true. God can't cease to exist, right? In endless time or whatever time span exists, right? There's always been at least some form of reality, right? There seems to be a precondition of truth, which means that as long as there's something, there was a truth. And God didn't choose to exist. This means that God doesn't ground truth. I would even say in this case, truth.
What?
Grounds
You're just
God.
making a bunch of illogical inferences.
No, look. You said a second ago, truth is that which corresponds to reality. And you said if there was no reality, there would be no truth. That's what you said. Then I asked you about the relationship between God and reality. And then I said, fine. When there was
but did you hear what I said about it?
No, I didn't. Yes, I'm trying to recap it. You can tell me where I go wrong. I said, fine. When God only,
God only exists, there's at least some kind of reality. He said, yeah, right?
But because God exists, there is reality.
Because God exists, there's a reality.
Because you need to distinguish between two different types of order.
Fine.
There's a chronological order, right? And then there's this.
So look, you can't have truth if there's no reality, right? There's always been a reality because something's always existed, right?
Right, God.
He's so true. Okay, God. We're gonna call God like the thing that's always existed, which allowed reality to be the way it is, right? Is that fine?
The reason why there is anything at all is because God is self-existent and necessary.
Okay. God gives birth to reality, right?
God explains the existence of reality.
God explains the existence of reality. But what you said earlier is that as long as there's existence, there's a reality. And reality.
Right, and God is existence itself.
And God is existence, but God didn't choose to exist, right?
Not irrelevant.
Okay, if it's irrelevant, what I'm saying is this, is that truth really has nothing to do with God, right? And the reason why is because God had no choice but to always exist. And as long as there's existence...
Okay, but why in order to explain something do you need to choose it?
Here's why. Suppose there was like something else that always existed. Let's just say a rock, right? Because if you hold a position that there was no intentional fucking non-physical mind, you just said something always existed, right? Well, that, by your definition, is a form of reality, right? And that right there is all you need for truth.
But that's incoherent.
No, it's not.
Yes, because you're saying that something exists without existence.
No, you're saying...
Well, no, God is existence itself. To say that the rock exists is just to say that it derives its existence from existence itself.
I know that's what you're saying, right? You're saying, look, God is existence. Without God, there's no existence. There's just no thing, right? Right?
Right.
Okay, so work with me here. So now that we have this concept of God being what existence is without it, right? We also know that existence is basically a necessity to reality, right?
What? Repeat that last part.
Existence and reality, right, are like mended together, correct?
Well, just reality is just the description of all that which exists.
Correct. And as long as something exists, you will always have a reality, right?
Yeah, right? Because reality is just describing that something exists.
Fine. Like, I can tell by your pause, you think I'm like gonna trap you. I'm trying to...
No. It's literally just, I feel like we're going in circles at this point.
Okay, we are, because I don't... is the contingency of the truth, right? And God has always just existed. And like God's mind and all this other stuff is irrelevant, right? Because your God...
No, that just doesn't follow.
No, look, suspend your belief for a second, right? If your God was like this kind of like dumb thing that had like, let's just say 2%.
He couldn't possibly be that. It's inconceivable that he could be that.
I conceived it right now.
No, you didn't. You just merely thought that you did. And that's the problem is that conceivability, there's additional conditions for conceivability just besides the fact that you think it's coherent.
Such as what?
And we can go through, and I can show you the absurdity of that. What you're saying.
Actually, let's hold up. Let's just look at it. It's fine. Let's see what defines conceive means.
Yeah, you can just go to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy for conceivability.
Just on ChatGPT.
So there's basically certain conditions.
Okay.
Where
form an idea in your mind or create something like a plan, thought. So like.
Well, there's actually. No. But you can't. So there's some things that are inconceivable, like a square circle, where a person might delude themselves into thinking that they conceived of it, right? So a person might think of a squircle in their mind, right? Which is a circle with rounded edges. I mean, it's like a square with rounded edges. And a person might say that
The black struggle, though. Why you gotta be fucking this crack in front of me? Oh, bitches. Like, all of these dumb blacks who want to be kind of like cool and I guess fit in with the racist white people and I guess like say hail Hitler and like he was at that time eugenics was reigning supreme, and blacks were trash DNA. I mean, according to pretty much everybody, even the socialist countries at the time. I mean, they were just considered filth.
Can I?
And so it's just like, why the simpery? Like, it's just so weird. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask. Well, like, whenever wait, I don't care. I don't want to say this meeting's recording, but I'll go ahead and say it. Whoever's reading it. But whenever like the other day, somebody came on stage and they were going off on Issa, he moved them down right away. I don't understand. No, Diego. But I don't understand why he let them degrade me so much. No, really. Like, both Rico and Lou messaged me, "Are you okay?" Because they realized it was like pretty messed up.
Nice. Thank you. How can you send me?
She's having fun.
But at my expense, you don't.
You're no fun to be around anymore.
Well, not when you let things happen to me at my expense.
We're just trolling.
Calling me a whore and saying I'm gonna force your dick in your mouth.
That's every time a black guy says that to you, you lose your like
No,
shit.
it's because you let them do it, Diego. I don't
let them do anything. Everybody's trolling. Everybody's talking shit.
But why do you move them down whenever they do it to Issa?
Well, that's your opinion. I don't agree with that.
I think Issa moves people down, and she has like an army of Jewish simps that are modding with her that will like move people down.
Yeah. No, it's just like, and it's always the same fucking story with you, Nura. It's always the same fucking story. You call some black guy a nigger, and then they dish it out at you. You whatever, you're talking shit, and then they dish it out to you, and they always.
My husband.
And they know exactly how to get you every time, and you always get hurt by it.
Listen, a woman doing it to me, okay, like she can do it to me, but when you let men speak to me like that.
There you go. I know this. I'm not gonna partake in the merry-go-round relationship thing. Like, we've been through this one before. I've seen this episode before. I know exactly how it ends. It's crazy.
Like, guys, you know me, I would do the white America rooms. Mon was my number one. That was always like the biggest fucking problem we had, is that people would be disrespectful to her, but it was a very disrespectful room. They'd be like, "Why didn't you fucking put him in the goose suit? Or why didn't you do that? Why didn't you eat it? Why didn't you do that?"
I've only said this twice, and it's just because it hurts me. Like,
I get it, but I'm trying to tell you, okay, but first of all, you guys don't do this conversation in front of us. Like, just don't. I'm telling you, it's going to be used against both of you. I'm literally saying this because I like both of you. Don't do this in front of any of us. Like, have this privately.
I don't want to have it privately.
Yeah, dude, you have to, though.
No, it's fine. I don't want to either.
You don't want to do this out in the public.
It's fine. It's done. It's already done. I said what I needed to say. He said what he needed to say.
Who cares what the guy said? Like, why do you share it? It's because he's black, right? That's why it always hurts you.
No, Diego. It's just so vicious. They say such vicious stuff.
Yeah, like, you were getting involved in that community by marrying one of those guys.
I married a mulatto.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
He was whiter than you.
A
Amazing. That's not how that works here in America, right? Peppy?
No, if you're half black, you're black.
You've seen a picture of him.
I have.
Have I?
No, Diego has. You had asked to look like Sinbad, and I sent you a picture of him.
I was about to mention Sinbad today, but you guys
Oh my god.
I forget.
I guess like Princessa.
No, it's Pepe. It's the viciousness. It's fine. Like
I get it. I've had to deal with it.
I wouldn't let. I swear, I wouldn't let people speak to anybody I care about for less than that. Like, or I get. I said it's the nigger in her, but what do you want me to say to her when she said you should have chosen a husband with a better genome? Like he died from ALS. Like Asties have gotten ALS.
I get it. I get what you're saying. No, I don't care that you called her I don't care how you treated her.
And I didn't. And Diego, I didn't engage with Mike. I don't even know who he is.
But Princessa, I would say this. This is like the really weird dichotomy that you have. Like in real life.
We can move on from this.
Okay, but I just gotta say this.
You never want to hear the truth.
But hold on a second. In real life, okay, I would not let somebody talk to like my woman like that. But it's like with the case with Mon, right? She's somebody who I literally met on here. People are fucking rude. They're vicious. They're mean. They talk shit on here, and herself included. And it's just like, okay, well, it kind of becomes like, well, because of the dynamics and like how you guys met and how you guys have always operated, it kind of changes things quite a bit. It's just like, it's a lot different than if in real life Diego was gonna like let somebody talk to you like that. Whereas this is where you guys met and you guys have always talked shit.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to rethink, your life. I mean, like being on here, 10 hours a day is, not very productive, and it's pretty pathetic.
You're on here 10 hours a day.
I know, but that's what's funny is that he always points that out.
But at the end of the day, he's probably correct. I mean,
Probably. Do you remember your life before this stupid fucking app?
I didn't do social media before the pandemic. I mean,
You don't do social media now, stupid?
well, I mean, I know. I'm obviously on here talking to people whose names I don't really know.
This is.
I think I.
You don't even do Instagram. You have no YouTube. You don't do anything.
Rico messaged me.
No, I just communicate with people online.
Rico,
Oh, what's up?
you messaged me. Are you okay, right?
Yeah, what's the big deal?
Do you feel like I wasn't okay?
I don't know. I forget what the guy said, to be honest.
Nora, we all love you. You're a very nice person. I was standing up for you when and like I said, even you were surprised by it. I don't know why. I don't know your history, but even Yael was like really like viciously standing up for you. And so we were two people that like amongst all of both of us are often in Jewish rooms. We were like pushing back against everybody, and I mean, I like you as a person. Like I've never been mean to you.
You
And you'd probably hit it under the right circumstances.
I mean, I think she's attractive, but it's not. But that's not how I. So like, I go under a pseudonym or an anonym online. I've never tried to fuck women or anything like that on here. I don't simp for women. You guys never hear me do that. Why? Because, I mean, obviously that would involve doxing yourself. I'm not interested in doing that. I
thought you said you video called with one of the girls before.
Well, so, yeah, but they still don't know my real name or my number. Like, even Pearl, who was in here earlier, on Instagram, she's, like, video chatted with me. But, like, on Discord, I've done it. I've done YouTube with a few people on here. But I'm not, like, here. like, there's a reason you don't see me in dating rooms or bitching about women. It's not my thing. I don't come here to talk about that shit.
Dating rooms.
Talking with other fucking men.
Why don't you download Hinge or Bumble and do something with your life? Get a girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, I could, but I'm just gonna be honest, and no shade to women. I know that's kind of a Negro phrase, but women are like really boring to talk to. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, I don't want to debate with them.
Yeah.
Maybe you're really boring and you haven't met any interesting women who are intelligent or can even, outdo you because you're dating or you're not even dating, basically.
Women that can outdo me and are more intelligent than me, but I'm obviously talking about, like, on average. You go into an average, like, female-dominated room, maybe the only interesting...
This is not a fucking dating app, stupid!
If they start talking about, like, them and I don't know, something maybe I don't know how they think about men or some, like, weird quirky...
Did you get kicked in the fucking head or did you have your head bashed in during boxing? How badly did the boxers bash in your fucking brain?
Shut up, you fucking goddamn dude.
I mean, I'm being accurate in my assessment here. You're sitting here talking as if this is a fucking dating app, dude. Do you have a Hinge account? Do you have a Bumble account?
I'm saying, like if I go on Spaces, today it would be on X. Like, is it kind of, like, funny? Like, I'll go there on, as an anonymous listener, and these are, like, the people from the conservative side of Twitter, and they're talking about, like, sexual shit, and it's just like, oh, it's like let's see how they actually behave. And a lot of right wingers have been doing that, and, like, there's been a lot of them have been calling them out, like, oh, you're a fucking dysgenic, deviant. You're not part of the right. Where I just see, like, 40-plus-year-old women just talking about, like, sexual shit, and which a lot of it I think is kind of funny, honestly. That's maybe the extent to which I want to listen to bitches talk. Like, I don't really care about... I mean, let me ask you this.
I don't even want to hear myself talk.
This will show a lot, Canadian. When it comes to, like, geopolitical issues or anything really of relevance, when do you actually want to hear a woman's voice? What are you looking forward to?
I come on Clownhouse for women's assessment and analysis of geopolitical bullshit.
Okay, I'm asking who in particular. It doesn't have to be Clubhouse. It can be, like, a mainstream figure. It can be anybody. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but why? Your question's stupid, dude. Why? You're setting it up as if I seek out women to listen to their fucking analysis. I don't.
I'm not setting it up. I'm just saying. In real life, though, like, I mean, if I'm looking at people on the left, the right, like, I will listen, and I actually find him more, like, entertaining than most of the faggots on the right. Ezra Klein's fucking podcast, I'll listen to that shit and be like, he's actually a pretty sharp guy. He's somebody who I disagree.
He's a fucking moron.
No, I think he's definitely smart. He's ideologically very driven, but it's interesting to listen to how these people.
I'm not even joking.
Oh wow.
Like, he lives on the west side of Manhattan. He's a total cuck, dude.
I can believe the cuck part. But, like, I'll listen to this shit, but it's just, like, I'm trying to think, who are women, I forget the name of this Romanian bitch who moved to England a couple years ago, who did this hit piece on the dissident right a few weeks ago. Yeah, I forget her name. But
there was an article you actually, let me get it for you. It's called The Anti-Semitic Bros of the Conservative Party. It's about the Andrew Tates. Let me see if I can find it. Were you in it? Fuck. Were you in it? Nobody even knows who the fuck you are, Robert Taylor, except for Alvin Bragg.
Was this in the New York Times?
No, it was like the Atlantic or the New Yorker or something.
So, no, this was in the New York Times. It's Alex Kushka, or I believe, she was somebody who also, like, or during the pandemic, she ended up becoming popular, and I would listen to her podcast just because of the people she would bring on. And what's really weird is a lot of these guys. So you had everything from like she would actually get on a lot of academics. Some of them were like even sociologists who were somewhat kind of alt-right-ish. But then they would break down like a lot of the where a lot of the alt-right gets it wrong. And you know, like I've talked to Richard Spencer a million fucking times. Like there's a lot of things they see that they did wrong. They see what currently is really going wrong, and when I say that they say it's going wrong, it's kind of like they admit that they were wrong about a lot of shit in the past.
Oh wow, Richard Spencer, huh? What a cool guy. You've talked to him hundreds of times. Wow. Like, who gives a fuck? The whole point about life is optimizing your life, and that's your house, that's your health, that's your love life, that's your food, that's your environment. I mean, you guys talk as if you have no fucking lives at all, and you're not concerned about anything.
You're on here all day streaming. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't have to talk because you guys do all the talking, and what I've observed is that it's stupid talk.
You're levying this criticism at us when it's like obviously you don't have a fucking life. So.
No, I had to deal with plumbing issues all day long. That's the real world. This is fucking drama, stupid entertainment, hypnosis communication, which is totally pointless. I'm also running for Congress. What the fuck are you doing?
I'm not running for. You're not gonna get elected. Like.
Does it fucking matter? I'm doing something.
Yeah, but I can run for an election. I'm not gonna win. It means nothing.
It doesn't matter. I am projecting and causing.
I can run for president, literally, but it's a waste of fucking time. I'm literally wasting my life.
It's not a waste of time running for Congress. The guy that I'm running against is a total fucking moron, and there's so many stupid Congress people.
Right? Do you not live in Chicago?
Yeah.
So you're wasting your fucking time. Amazing.
No, this is not. I'm not running in Chicago. I'm running against a Republican candidate in the suburbs where it's 90% conservative voters.
We hope you win.
Chances are I won't win, but the fact of the matter is, this guy is a vaccinologist, a big internet scammer. There's just the voters are completely unaware. Like literally, the low IQ voters have absolutely no idea who they even vote for, let alone they don't even know that they're voting against themselves every time they vote for these people, because all they do is rip them off and spend all the fucking money. It all went to Verizon, AT&T, Pfizer, Verizon. I mean, these Congress people are criminals. They spend $1 trillion acts.
Like, are we going to be honest? Like, do you really think Republicans? I see the game where Democrats are kind of. Okay, so they're willing to facilitate demographic change and have an alliance of the coloreds with those particular whites in order to continue to win elections. Do I think that in the same way Republicans are the exact same way? They will build a fucking alliance without care for the everyday American. They just want to keep themselves in power. Like, I guess I'm somebody who's voted Republican my whole life, but I'm going to be honest. Like, there's some wedge issues where that's why I'll vote Republican, but I consider them both, like shit parties. I mean, if I'm being honest.
What are you eating, Tepe? You're like.
It's not, the party is shit, but the point is, it's about doing something. I mean, what was the last book you even read?
It's been a few years. It was like
a few fucking years you haven't read a book, but you've been on here for years talking.
Yeah, shit online. I like read news, and then what I have read quite a bit of, it's like different scholarly articles where it's basically people, obviously preeminent scholars trying to, prove their points, and of course they're
preeminent scholars.
I'm looking at myself and educating myself, like looking at the outcomes.
I was emotional for no reason. I'm I'm just emotional.
You were emotional for no reason? I don't believe it.
Princessa, you're fine. Princessa, you're fine. Just don't. God, you don't have to apologize to us. Just don't. You're cool. Like, I don't.
She wasn't apologizing to us. She was apologizing to her man, Diego.
I know, but she shouldn't be doing this in public.
He's not your man anymore? Well, that's good news. That's breakthrough. You're finally free from this fucking Jew hater's hypnosis. Congratulations.
No, I wish he was my man. He doesn't want to be
She corrected herself there. Okay, I guess you're still not free. Never mind.
I'm not like one of these brutally honest people that you have to say the truth all the time. Like, I think there's a lot of conversations that men and women shouldn't have together. I don't know if you agree with that, Pepe, but
I mean, I personally, I don't like. There's a million reasons. First of all, I think men are hardwired differently to have conversations we find more interesting than women do. If any space that is dominated by women, I've never found them entertaining. And I just there's a lot of things. Yeah, I don't think we should discuss in front of each other, and I don't know.
Well, what is your example, Diego, of a conversation you don't want to have?
We all tend to come into. Now, I know that, like, I had my own spaces where you guys were largely in. I mean, it's mainly men. Why?
I used to come into your spaces, warm them up, and then you'd kick me out of your room after it built up to a certain momentum.
Never shut the fuck up, and you troll like nonstop, like literally.
What is the point of this app? You think it's college? You think it's working at a corporation, at a business, or working for the? What the fuck do you think this app is about, stupid? It's about comedy.
He's gonna stay in a fucking room and they have to hear you.
They're not gonna stay. You think they want to listen to you and Mon all night long while you guys say the N-word 100 times?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why people are always going in their rooms. I mean, honestly.
Because you say the N-word and you upset black people.
Not
You think
I
that?
said the N-word, no. Is it because I upset black? Oh yeah. Yeah, that was like a large reason black people in the rooms. Like the very first room I made is that I felt this app out for like a few weeks, and then it was like white people, whiteness, and all things beautiful about white people. It was some stupid shit. And then like all of a sudden, it's just like within a few minutes, I have like 150 people in the room, and it's just like
nice.
All of it, all of these black people are like, "What's up with your title, motherfucker? What you doing?" And then and while I was filling this app out, I remember like going into predominantly black spaces, and I could be talking. Then a black woman would overtalk me. It's like, Cracker, you hear this sister talking, right? You let this black queen speak. Know your goddamn role, motherfucker. And it's like, oh, okay. And so, like, I immediately started playing that same fucking ball game. I'm like, okay, Mr. Jefferson, I know you heard, this white queen speaking, okay? You can kindly shut the fuck up so she can continue her point. They're like, who are you talking to? Okay, move to audience. Okay, any of you other monkeys want to get,
Pepe, how badly did you get beat during the boxing
like, oh my God,
matches?
this cracker and his audacity. I was literally, like, not even one-upping them. I was literally treating them, giving them the same level of hospitality that they gave us. And they could not fucking stand it. And then, of course, I started bringing up statistics and, FBI crime data, all of this shit. They're like, oh, that shit's racist. That's racist. What do you mean? What do you mean we commit more than half the murders? That's bullshit. You guys committed genocide your whole life. 400 years of slavery and oppression. And, they go with their stupid narratives. And they're a very easy group of people to just, like, troll and make them jump out of their skin. Like, there's no group of people where you can say one word and they act like monkeys. And of course, nigger is the word.
Well, have you ever painted a picture of the Prophet Muhammad?
Well, no, that's another one.
Yeah, why don't you change your name to Muhammad? See, you're boring. You've gotten boring, Pepe. What we're encouraging you to do is spice it up.
I don't make rooms anymore. When's the last time I made a room?
Nobody, listen, I think you're just repeating yourself all the time. Like, how badly did your head get bashed in the boxing ring? Because you don't ever actually say anything new.
But when do I make rooms anymore? I don't make
Again, you're repeating yourself. I've heard you say the same stupid shit over and over. When do I make rooms? I don't even make rooms anymore. Like, bro, do something with your life.
I'm not. I like, this is a dying app. Any clout I would have got, anybody who knows who I am, they already know who I am. Like, I like, literally, I'll just, like, come in and shoot the shit with people. I'm not making fucking spaces.
Dr. Australia, what do you think?
Lit rooms with a bunch of fucking people. I just
Let me ask Dr. Australia.
Like, that's not my thing anymore.
Dr. Australia in the chat wrote, wow, healthy debates really plummeted. I wonder what happened to Roger. Did you catch JB saying that the kid who stabbed the other kid was scared for his life? I heard JB today, Jay Breskin, say that he's a conservative, and I couldn't stop laughing because that fucking faggot voted for Kamala Harris. Also, Dr. Australia wrote, Brincesia is crying again.
Yeah, he does that.
It's gotta be Nora.
You know,
I mean,
you gotta admit that
Abby.
this app shouldn't be dying. It's a good platform. They fucked it up really bad.
No, they fucked it up so
They had a
bad.
town hall today. Did you see it?
Out of all of, like, the media apps, this was, like, the best platform. If you go on to X, it's just, like, you can only have a certain number of people on stage. It's the audio quality's horrible.
Yeah.
And of course, Elon Musk has had this shit for a couple of years, and nothing's changed.
How many accounts do you think you've had, Pepe? How many accounts do you think you've had? I think I've had probably 30.
Why does he
30
just
at
buy
least.
Clubhouse?
I don't know.
Why would he buy it? He's already got X, and social audio over there is bigger than it is here.
To buy anything.
No, he's talking about Elon Musk, not me, you fucking retard.
What would he do? Just keep running it as a for loss business?
I don't have the money to buy Clubhouse. Just like 99% of other white people, I do not have the money to Clubhouse.
What if we pooled our money and bought it all together?
Then what are you gonna do with it? Put Google ads on it? Google won't allow ads where you have rooms with people dropping the N-word and fucking making death threats and calling for people's murders all day long on this app. Have you not been? You don't even create. Diego, you don't even go into other rooms. You just create rooms. You're smart.
Hold on. You know, as a you guys will call me, they call me Tether or whatever you guys want to call me, whatever. You know, a lot
We're
of
not FBA. We don't use that.
I'm not an FBA. I'm not.
I think FBA's called you guys that. We white people don't do that.
Okay, so the thing is this, right? One of the things that hold back this country, because I'm not born and raised, I was half raised here. One of the things that hold back the United States of America, and it's the truth, it's this ethnic race shit that's going on here. That's one of the major issues that hold back this country. Now, you know, nigga means an ignorant person. And I know in America and around the world, nigga, whatever, wherever everybody comes from, they use it separately. We all use it as a tone of endearment. Who use it as a derogatory, because you guys do. One of the major things that I feel a lot of Americans of Caucasian descent need to move forward from, and FBAs too.
The fuck is an FBA? A football player?
Diversity, your racial disparity, and your racial stereotypical outlook.
King Tutankhamun, what's an FBA?
A lot of Caucasians, we're not talking about on the app, I'm talking about in real life.
King Tutankhamun, what's an FBA? I don't know that acronym. Let me Google that for you.
I'm not Tutankhamun.
Jesus Christ, Armenian.
Stop trying to think you're throwing me off. Just stop. You're not. Move. You see, once you move.
What's your point, Dr. Pap?
You see, once you move forward.
Dude, just shut up.
This
not you, but comedian.
This country will be so powerful than where it is because you guys think America's powerful. It's not.
It's a paper tiger.
It's not powerful, especially in 2025. It's not. This country will be more together and powerful, and then you will be more conducive to have strong growth internally.
Let me ask you this question, Jack. I can kind of get what you're saying. I'm
because
saying
at the end of the day, you all born here. A lot of you all have a lot in common because a lot of you guys, you think a lot of you guys don't have a lot in common. Black Americans and Caucasian Americans, you guys have a lot in common. You do. You think you don't, but you do.
Wait, you ain't black?
No, I agree, but hold on. So I want to ask you a question. Where in Africa do you come from?
Damn. I'm not African.
Where are you?
I wasn't born in Africa, so that don't make me African. I'm an African descent. Yes. Do I have mixtures like all of you guys? Yes.
But I would say this. So if you look in Africa, it's non-stop warring in a lot of these countries, and it's along ethnic lines.
Yeah, but there's other reasons why there's non-stop warring in there. And it's not just because of the people that's born there. There's a lot of other nuances that come with what's going on in Africa.
You see, my argument would be, whether it's in Europe, Africa, or Asia, is that the major fault lines tend to be racial, ethnic, and religious. So we can look at the Balkans, which is a region
in Africa,
they are willing to slaughter each other.
Said I will return to you. Why would this guy get new permanent teeth in 24 hours? Instead of placing you in temporary teeth?
Americans did that. I mean, the thing is, though, that people differentiate themselves and they absolutely fight. And you say, here's where I think it's kind of ironic what you said. Is that when the rest of the world, when I say the rest of the world, I mean literally the rest of the world, has not been able to get over their tribal, ethnic, racial, or religious differences, somehow there's supposed to be a miracle in the United States where we're capable of doing it. I think that's
America push. Well, I mean, because America push togetherness, democracy. So that's the main reason why I'm stating what I'm stating. Plus, this is a huge melting pot. So that's why I'm stating what I'm stating. Because you guys are pushing togetherness, and it's really not.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think that the melting pot thing was a mistake.
Well, half of you guys are yourselves. Your forefathers are not born American. So I think you guys, that's why I said you guys and FBAs have a lot in common. And you think you don't, but you do.
What's an FBA? Foundational Black. So here's where I'll say that this is kind of proving my point. So, yes, Europeans came here, the new arrivals, depending on where they came from, were looked down upon. But then we mixed together and we just become white. Especially with like the millennials for quite a bit, but the zoomers, they're absolutely like, if they're white, they're generally going to be like a mix of several different ethnicities of a European background. Whereas after 400 years, Native Americans and blacks are still black. That's something that where like there's a racial fault line that has not really been overcome. I mean, I can have a kid with like a Hispanic woman, and it's kind of, at the end of the day, it's going to be, it may look like an exotic white person, or maybe just flat out white. And then they can just like blend in. Europeans just always
depends on the country where they're from, and it depends on the background of the person that speaks Spanish, because the Hispanic.
Mexicans are the overwhelming majority where I come from.
You and a Mexican,
You yourself, you don't look like you're a pure.
100% European.
You look like you have a tan in that.
I do have a tan in that picture.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
But
and then that's another thing with you guys too.
You see, we're not as colorist as you guys, and that's a really weird thing.
With people that have my skin tone, but you're tanning. That shit is crazy to me. I was always
sure.
When I came to this country, I always find it so funny. And where I'm from, I wasn't dirt poor. So we have white Jamaican people. We have Chinese Jamaican people. We have Indian, red dot Indian, not the indigenous like people here. You guys under FBA is always claiming. We have East Indian people. My family is descendant of that, so on my mother's side. You know, I always find it so funny when we used to go to the North Coast, we used to drive to the North Coast, and then British white people and American white people are totally different. You know, I used to look to myself and we used to laugh. Now, here it is. Americans is coming to my country trying to make it seem like they're better than us. Motherfuckers is on the beach tanning, trying to get dark. That shit is crazy to me. But you have issues with black people like myself.
Well, I would say, here's the weird thing. So
that shit is crazy.
I don't think it is. So if you look at the history of tanning, so it used to be amongst whites. Getting a tan was, or being tan was like it was a huge turn on. Why? Because having a tan meant that you were a laborer. But at least it's like the 1940s, Coco Chanel was in the Mediterranean. Her and her models had tans. And then all of a sudden it became chic and cool to like have a tan. And I would say this, God gave us skin that can tan. And I love how you try to like equate it to us like wanting to look black. It doesn't make us look more black. Like it literally just if anything, it can signal a lot of things, like such as maybe you exercise, like today, you're outside more, you exercise more, you whatever. It's not I'm trying to look closer to black. White people, when they tan, they don't look like another ethnicity. That's what
weird. I don't ever think you could never look like my beautiful chocolate skin ever. That will never happen. You can never look like me. So
that's racist.
I could care less. His undertones of what has been going on, and when I came into the room, all that niggas that was coming out of Pepe's mouth. Let's get real. So you can never look like my chocolate skin here ever, and I could care less if you want to or don't. I never in my entire brought up in this world ever tried to think no white person is better than me ever. And like I said, we have white Jamaican people, we have Chinese, we have Indians, we have different ethnicities in Jamaica. We have German, Jamaicans. One of the things when I came to this country, I realized a lot of people here is ignorant, low grade, and low class. And a lot of people here in America are very brainwashed to the point where you're stuck in how they want all of you to be. Because a lot of people here, white, black, and indifferent, and born Hispanics, you're like a flock of sheep. Anything the government tell you, you fall for it and you believe it. A lot of you, you're in a systemic, yes, and I'm here too, but I'm glad I'm from somewhere else. I can have a different outlook on a lot of things. A lot of people here are very fucking ignorant. This is one of the most ignorant places I've ever.
Well, hold on a second. So, what is Jamaica? Is it not one of the highest murder rates in the fucking world? Hold on, no, we're gonna go there.
Don't even go there because
we're gonna go there. No, shut your fucking mouth. We're gonna go there. So you're trying. No, hold on a second. What is the poorest island? What is the poorest place in the Western Hemisphere? It is literally Haiti. Okay, where are the highest homicide rates? Okay, okay, if we look at the United States and its territories, it's Caribbean islands. If we're to look at the highest murder rates, okay, I understand with the Mexican drug war, it's picked up quite a bit in Mexico, but it's always traditionally been the population with the highest amount of black people in fucking Latin America. You fucking dipshit. And if we're to look at who have the highest murder rates here in the United States, if we're not looking at the Caribbean islands, it's literally going to be East St. Louis, it's going to be New Orleans, it's going to be Detroit, it's going to be all of these fucking places. It's literally going to be all of you dumb niggas. Okay, that's literally you fucking people.
A lot of you white American people.
No, you guys commit more than 50% of the homicides, you fucking chimp.
You motherfuckers that do a lot of mass shooting that don't know.
No, we're talking about statistics, you goddamn retard. I understand you fucking low IQ chimps don't understand per capita. Here's this low IQ nigger with his fucking, yep, he's in his feelings. Amazing.
Piece of fucking shit.
Trying to tell us Americans we're fucking ignorant. Go back to Jamaica, you fucking ape.
Oh, you got it, you fucking cracker. You dumb cracker.
God damn. I hope the FBA's end up fucking
you wish you could look like me,
fuck you,
dumb motherfucker. That's why you tanning, you dumb motherfucker.
Didn't you
look
ever
like
say
a race word? NPR. You dumb motherfucker. Ain't nothing triggered about me. I'm here laughing, having a smile on
I
my
love how these black immigrants want to come in here and tell us who the fuck is American and how we should be. Like, who's this fucking retard? Like, the FBA's want to lynch this fucking ape more than any white person would. For good reason. Like, you are a fucking tether. You are a fucking tether. Shut the fuck up.
Is that a lot of minorities?
You don't even get puffed. What you talking about?
Don't see any difference between yourself.
Lava chicken, Steve's lava chicken, yeah, it's tasty as hell.
Waits to see the difference.
Oh, mamacita, yeah, I'm ringing the bell.
Do you even have a bachelor's degree, Pepe?
Yeah, he works in mental health. He's a therapist. Can you believe this guy helps African Americans end the psych when he's a therapist?
That's the worst minorities have a degree, they suddenly get all like, oh, I have a degree.
You dumb motherfucker.
Yeah. I have okay, first of all, both my parents have advanced degrees.
Both your parents, was they cousins?
They were so retarded. They were cousins. They got advanced degrees. Like, I love your logic, you fucking retard.
Diego, I think you have selective memory, by the way.
Diego, how do you have this much time to host a room with children?
This is too good. This is enjoyable.
Diego, thank you. I'm enjoying this, by the way.
Yeah.
What are you gonna tell your kids when they grow up and they're like, "Where were you, Dad?" And you're like, "Oh, I was on this racist app, Clown House, having fun." Sorry, kids, for.
Sometimes you have to read the experiment where you put these opposite races together in a room and you see what happens in the petri dish. You know what I mean?
But Dap with whatever half nigger children he has, he's not in their lives.
Diego, that we're a petri dish.
Your daughter's gonna be a fucking hoe. That's what the fuck she's gonna be.
Oh, no, sir, my daughter.
She's gonna be a fucking escort.
No, young man, because you're younger than I am. No,
How old are you?
I'm older than you, Pepe.
Hold on a second. I'm almost in my mid-40s. How old are you?
I'm 50. So, no young man.
So your daughter's already a hoe. Okay, amazing.
No young man. My daughter is
she's a hoe.
Mortician. So
she's a mortician.
Damn. Excuse you, faggot. My daughter, like myself.
So she gets after
like myself, we're very established.
Post-mortem body, she gets about to sit on her face. Amazing.
She's not a coroner. Let me just put you like that.
She don't suck dick on the side like you.
A mortician is not I love how you use the term mortician. It's a lot different from a medical examiner, which is a doctor. In other words, your daughter's a dumb nigger slut.
Pepe, see those type of comments, let me know your level. So I won't even. I'm not even
What's
offended.
my level, Negro?
I'm not even offended because at the end of the day, you can't even produce.
Can't produce what?
You inbred low level homosexual.
Be specific. Can't produce what?
You can't even produce a child. So shut the fuck up.
No, I can't. I mean, that's not hard to do. I know a lot of the low IQ Negroes, they produce them rather rapidly. A lot of,
and hence why we're overtaking.
Cortex is not as active at it over like every other race, and so no, you dumb no, hold on a second. You dumb dirty apes are not able to. Yeah, you just it's like a dog. It's just like I'm sleeping in butt. Baby boy, fuck you.
Politics are trying to hold on.
That's what you guys do.
To the back in the days mentality.
You know, Pepe.
That's a lot low degenerate.
Back in the. Okay, but you think you're coming here with all of this wisdom, but like, let's look at your fucking country. It is by every fucking standard an absolute fucking shithole compared.
So just try to understand what I'm saying. We've moved on, and it's not that we've moved on in a way that we've rejected these ideas completely. Look, the first thing that we have to ask ourselves is, do universals exist? If you deny that universals exist, then you don't even have to engage with Aristotle or Plato. You can jump straight to like Kant and Hume, and that's it. Like, because you don't really need, you don't agree with universal properties. But obviously that kind of drives you in a corner, like, given your worldview. Like, if you reject universals, then you can't really be a realist about like anything really. Then you can't be a realist about morality and meta ethics. You can't be a realist about like goodness or badness. You can't really be a realist about anything. It's a really, like, you're kind of driving as a skeptic. You're kind of driving yourself in the corner, right? You can't really argue with like other people because like you can't even be a realist about logic. Something like logic, right? You can actually, in a sense. It depends on what type of skeptic or to what extent you.
وين كنت عايش السعودية؟ عبد الله كيف بلد؟ منطقة العربية يعني؟
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
عارف بدر البدر؟ صباح الفل يعني منورة يا إلي.
شكرا.
هلا إلي والله.
I'm also happy for you that you finished the process. Sounds amazing.
Thank you so much. It really is. It's like unbelievable, really. I'm like, why did I not do it sooner?
How old are you?
I don't feel comfortable.
அசம்பாவிதங்கள்ல பாகிஸ்தான் அப்பாவி பொதுமக்கள் இறந்துட்டாங்கன்னு யாராச்சும் வந்து ஆரம்பிப்பாங்க பாருங்க. அதுல இருக்கு. அதுல வந்து இன்னும் அது கண்டிப்பா நடக்கும் கூடிய சீக்கிரம். யாராச்சும் வந்து அப்படியே, ஆனா இதெல்லாம் துல்லியமான தகவல். இறந்தவங்க அத்தனை பேருமே தீவிரவாதிகள் தான். ஆனா அப்பாவி பொதுமக்கள் இறந்துட்டாங்கன்னு யாராச்சும் முட்டு கொடுக்க வருவாங்க. அதை நான் எதிர்பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கேன். நன்றிங்க.
இல்ல, இன்னும் சில ஊபிகளுக்கு பாகிஸ்தான்ல இருக்க அந்த மசூத் அசாருடைய மദ്രാസാவை டார்கெட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க அப்படிங்கிறது இன்னும் தெரியல. அதுதான் ஆக்சுவலா
believers. Well, in the synagogue sense, it was like unique to that synagogue. So in other words, what the Lord is saying to St. Peter is like, upon you I will build my assembly, i.e. as if I was like a leader of a...
Apparently there's room to speculate.
In the matter.
Right? For something like,
lots of money. Like that's why he made millions. He made millions by being a nice guy.
Do me a favor. If you
Can we
look at
invite
my...
the comedian? He's my friend, though.
Who? Which one?
The comedian.
What's his name?
His name is the comedian.
Oh, okay. All right, do me a favor. Look at my bio. Click on my profile. Look at my bio. All right. That's my Cash App. So you say you got millions? Go ahead and send some to my Cash App.
So how is that? Okay, send you money? Like, they asking for some money?
Yeah, you said you got millions.
Yeah, the earth ain't flat if you ain't rich, dog.
He's trying to play me. Are you from Nigeria?
Don't you know this broke ass bitch is from fucking Egypt? He ain't got fucking 2 shekels to fucking squeeze together.
This is a Zionist, my friend. He's a Semitic. He's Zionist. He's Semitic too.
Yeah, free the hostages and destroy Hamas.
We are enemies, but
Bulldoze the
we are
whole
literally
shit
like,
fucking hole and fucking build again.
Semitic nations. We are enemies. Okay, comedian, shut up. Lionel, listen, Lionel. I will help you with everything, but...
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
No more hummus, no more crime! Free Palestine!
Comedian.
No more hummus, no more wine!
What do you think of the war between Pakistan and India?
It's tragedy. I hope it doesn't go thermonuclear.
Yeah, well, what did you like? Can you pick sides? Like, if you had to pick sides, what sides do you
I'm on this side of India. But there's no point in choosing sides. It's a big issue because there's rooms right now with like 100 Indians in there, and they're all talking about it. Like, this has got everybody.
What do you think I got my picture? I was in one of those rooms, but it was Pakistani. This is the flag of Pakistan.
What is that? A star and a moon with a green background?
Yeah, this is the flag of Pakistan. Yes.
Why is the moon white and why is the star white?
I don't know. You ask them. Pakistani.
Lionel, do you think these Muslims are racists?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, Pakistanis are very racist, huh?
But it could go nuclear. Like, today, wish they could go nuclear.
Can you imagine Pakistan detonates a nuclear bomb? It's like a shitty explosion. It's not that good.
They did it under the mountain, bro. It's not shitty.
Everybody's like, wow, I guess Pakistan doesn't have a big bang, but like the fucking Indians, they got the smartest engineers in the world in India. Trust me, their fucking nuke bombs work and they're bigger.
But Pakistan, you don't know, Pakistanis are they have like very talented people too when it comes like.
Yeah, I guess, but they don't have 1.4 fucking billion people. When you look at that's 100 million engineers. Pakistan cannot withstand the power of India. They have to relent.
Yeah, but good Indians are in America and Silicon Valley. They're not in homeland India. They're literally like that. They don't live there.
The richest Indians don't live in India.
And that's what I'm telling you. Like, if you are good at engineering, you don't stay in India. Like,
yeah, you leave. America, Dubai, they go everywhere. It's the biggest diaspora population on the planet.
So India have the shitty ones, the ones who couldn't like travel.
Yeah, but see, intelligence with the internet age, people are smarter than ever before, and Indians really take education
imagine
seriously.
What kind of engineer who couldn't leave India, who's living on $30 a month? Like, what kind of engineer is that? Because if he's even a good engineer, he would go to Dubai, for example, Like I'm not gonna say America, Saudi Arabia, but staying in India is proof that he's a shitty engineer.
Yeah, but most of them leave on H-1B visa, then they go back with, you know, hundreds of
They
thousands
don't
of
go
dollars.
back. Nobody goes back, bro. Once you leave that shithole, nobody goes back.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
So that's why they have shitty engineers. But when it comes to Pakistani, like they don't have like they have the mediocre. It's like.
But why are you still in Egypt? Egypt is such a shithole. Why do you live there?
Listen. When you know that most women are like mediocre when it comes to IQ.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have more smart women. Like it's literally statistical. You have more smart women than smart men because when it comes to men, like the variations are very high. You're either smart or stupid.
I'm going out with an Indian chick on Saturday. We're going to go play tennis. She's a quantitative, financial analyst. I mean, she's a mathematician.
Oh, Indian?
She's from Kerala or Karachi or something.
They love wine dick. Like I love them.
She's a pretty girl. I mean, I like Indian women. You know why I like Indian women? Because they're not black. They're not Asian. They're not like Chinese.
Indian women are brown.
They're almost black, but not quite black.
But as a Zionist, you probably have this company, and she want to go, like, she probably works in your company. You're a Zionist, bro, and you control shit.
Oh, yeah,
this is not true. This is
just being a supporter of Israel automatically gives you a big business, right?
You are a CEO, bro. This is the typical, stereotypical, like, you are a rich Zionist. This is an Indian, like, girl. She have, like, ambitions, and you are trying to play her. Like, this is disgusting.
I'm not trying to play her. I'm trying to play her in tennis.
Like your wife gonna find about it.
My wife? What are you talking about? I'm not married. You're projecting, bro. You're projecting. You're cheating on your wife.
We are Semitic. We understand each other, bro.
Habibi, I hope Greater Israel takes over Egypt. I hope it takes over Syria. I hope it takes over.
Israelis are like. I actually don't deny them the right to be in Palestine. I don't deny. But
what Palestine? There's no such thing as Palestine. There's only Israel.
It's the same thing, bro.
It's exactly the same thing. That's why there's no such thing as Palestine.
Yeah, we could have it like it doesn't matter to me, but I don't like. But most of them are not actually Semitic at all. We have Eastern Europeans, and they're like, I'm Jewish. You're not fucking.
Yeah, but it's diaspora Jews. They had to flee the homeland back in 60 CE, 2,000 years ago.
Okay, but are you sure all of these people are actually?
Who cares? They speak Hebrew. Who gives a shit where they came from? They speak the language of the land.
They speak like if somebody like he was a Slav, like he decided I'm a Jew, I'm gonna go there. Like he speaks Hebrew.
Yeah, you ever been to Los Angeles and meet a Persian and you're like, "Are you Jewish?" And then they're like, "Yeah, I'm Jewish." And they're like, "Yeah, bullshit. You're a Muslim." And they're like, "All right, we converted to Judaism back in 1967."
Yeah, but I don't know. It seems like many nations have like jumped into the caravan, as they call it, tried to go with the flow, like new state, new country.
That's life. Go with the flow.
Yeah, it's nice, but if nuclear war started, you gotta watch out. We need no Indian fun to you, no Indian fun at all. Like
if a nuclear war starts off, do you know how much chicken mukni there's gonna be? There's gonna be chicken mukni for everybody.
Listen, everybody left because they are afraid of you. You could literally kick them out of their jobs, influence their study. You control everything in their country, so they are afraid of you. You are terrorizing the audience.
Well, I don't know. Israel's taking over the Gaza Strip right now, so maybe Israel helped India attack Pakistan, and at the same time, they're taking out the Muslim terrorists in the Gaza.
Yeah, but imagine if Pakistan was able to defeat India. How does that make you feel?
You're so stupid. It wouldn't happen in a million years.
Yeah, but imagine if it was Pakistani,
the populations aren't even close. You know how many people live in Pakistan and how many people are in their military? It's very small.
Yeah, but most Indians they don't just care about the government. Most Indians are just trying to live. They don't care.
Yeah, but you're discounting communication, and when you hypnotize a population, they get hypnotized, and they'll do what they're told to do.
They're hungry. They don't have the energy to fight. What about China?
Hungry people make the best soldiers, stupid. You're hungry? Go here. You're hungry? Go there.
They can't. But once they can't fund, they can give food to food.
Yes, they can. They can just borrow. They can buy and borrow. Trust me, Pakistan's fucked. Pakistan made a big mistake.
No, we have lots of money. We have literally give Pakistan $10 billion this morning.
Pakistan doesn't have shit. They killed 30 Indians in a terrorist attack, and now they're suffering the consequences.
Listen, Pakistani are so talented at recycling things. Like if you
Recycling? Who gives a shit about the recycling industry? That ain't the banking industry, stupid.
You could give them like scrap metal. They could create a tank out of it.
Yeah, you give a Palestinian a fucking metal pipe for plumbing, they make a rocket out of it.
Yeah, well, that's good. Like when you're fighting, like in a war, you gotta be resourceful.
Yeah, I know, but that's the problem. Is if you gotta be resourceful in a war, you're gonna lose.
But it's not you. You are thinking that you are winning because you are smart. You're not. America's fighting for you.
You have no idea. America has been perfecting war for hundreds of years. Our technology, our entire population. We educate thousands of people in battle every single year that graduate from military schools.
But I'm saying like America's fighting for you. It's not. You think that you are eating, like in Gaza, for example, because you are smart. It's not that, no. Because you are being supported by American companies. It's not
Dude, they need to release the hostages and surrender. These fuckers need to give it up.
If you have like 35s fighting against people who make pipes as rockets, it's not something you should be proud of.
Proud of? I'm sitting here in my mom's basement drinking a Miller High Life, smoking weed. What do I got to be proud of? What are you talking about?
You are a CEO, bro. I could smell it. You are a CEO. You control this Indian. You have this qualitative research Indian, like
I got a dating app called Hinge, stupid. Aren't you on dating it? Don't you have Bumble in Egypt? Don't you have Hinge in Egypt?
We're gonna hit some balls.
We're gonna go to the golf course and play some golf one of these days, you and I. I'm gonna outdrive you by 50 yards.
Teach your house to swing the bat. Fucking evil. You are evil, bro. Okay, we have Corey with us here. What's up, Corey? Oh, I hope you don't feel like distressed with the Semitic nations. According to God, we are chosen, we are superiors, so it's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, as the world is escalating into like nuclear war, here we have Pakistan, we have literally that situations like. So what do you think like would happen like if nuclear war started? Like who's gonna like? Nobody's gonna defend you. You don't have like mommy America in your back. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go buy some guns. What do you mean?
Like you're literally gonna be like, you're gonna be alone at that point.
I'm gonna dig a hole, a big bunker, get a bunch of weapons, ammunition, food, water, and just ride it out.
You see, this is the tactics of Hamas. You're gonna be literally like you're gonna.
Oh shit! Oh shit! I turned into Hamas.
See, you're gonna dig a hole. You literally said, "I'm gonna dig a hole."
Isn't that funny? That's what the mind thinks. It's like, okay, I'm gonna
that's
go.
That's intuitive, bro. If you're fighting evil, that's intuitive, like to go under.
Yeah, they fucked up. The Palestinians really fucked up. They fucked up. October 7th, biggest military strategic blunder of all
Actually, I
time.
don't support that. I think like this was stupid move.
Yeah, really stupid. They could have maybe established, peace and like. See, this is the thing is. It's counterintuitive.
You know what's the problem? The problem they miscalculated.
See, you got to realize that Israel has been preparing for this for many years. And so they just underestimated the reaction and the energy. It's just physics. I don't know if you know this, but...
they underestimated. They didn't accept this skill, especially the skill was unexpected.
Two planes can't bring down 3 skyscrapers. You know how much energy went into building the World Trade Centers? Do you know how much energy it takes to turn it into dust in an afternoon? It requires thermite detonators. You can't turn 3 buildings into dust with 2 planes. The energy equation is not there. It's not. It's an energy equation. It's physics. It's mathematics. And so what I'm saying is the Palestinians.
You know how much energy, literally, like in those planes, they were like filled with.
It's not enough energy. It's not enough energy to turn the building into dust. It's just not.
The fire does, bro. They are filled with jet fuel, bro. The fire does. The fire
No,
literally, like,
no. It's impossible. It's a solid steel structure. It's impossible.
But it melts under fire. Like
It doesn't melt. It burns. It doesn't melt. It's just too big. And where the planes hit were at the top, and the pancake theory, that was all thermite detonators. You're crazy if you just go to Google and type in demolition.
Islamic like extremists. I don't believe it's a conspiracy, bro.
It's a conspiracy. The CIA did it, and
he's
Mossad and Saudis and others.
Americans, all the guys who like partake in most of them they are American citizens.
Most Americans do not believe 9/11 was real. They think that it was a controlled demolition.
Americans are stupid. You could control.
Egyptians are stupid. You guys still fucking drink camel piss.
I'm not saying as the Semitic nations we control them. Israel have proven they are stupid. You could control them. Literally have them like play them as you want.
All I'm saying is October 7th is the same thing as 9/11, meaning the Palestinians didn't understand the energy required to actually fight a war. Because if all, metaphysics is all just energy. So, whatever you do in life, you have to basically break it down into energy. How much energy is it going to cost you to essentially accomplish this goal? And
but comedian, you are underestimating like the work done by the intelligence of Israel. Like even we appreciate our enemies, even if our enemies, but they did a great job. Like especially at the pagers job, that was a surprise, bro.
That was a big one. It
was like a stupid move from.
Did you see Bibi Netanyahu gave Trump a gold pager?
That was like, I'm gonna blow you. Or like it means like I don't like him. Like it's like I don't think it was a good thing. It's not a good present.
No way, they're proud. Do you know how proud the Israelis are? Do you have any idea how complicated that is to get fucking people to carry around plastic explosives with them and make them feel secure?
It is very complicated. Also, it is like disassemble the whole Hezbollah because once you probably those devices have like tracing, information connected.
Did you see the photos of all the Hamas soldiers with their arms blown off, their fingers gone? They can't even do anything anymore. All they can do is get on speakerphone.
Yeah, but that's how they got the information. There's actually more like information they got. Explosives. So they literally know everybody movement. Like they literally imagine like you could know everybody. Like what they are seeing.
Do you know Do you know how they would use the pagers? Meaning that they beep you when it's time to get to your battle position. They were using it as a signaling tool. Turns out those fuckers had no idea, but they have plastic explosives stuck to their hips. Stupid.
Yeah, probably. Like I understand these things, but I think it's like there's too much to it. Like they can't be that stupid. Like I don't know how that happened.
What do you mean? People take free shit all the time, and they're like, "Oh, I got some new shit. It's awesome. It was free." Like, "Oh, I got a new cell phone. This cell phone's the greatest." Boom.
Like attacking that guy in Iran, like they did, like they also like kill lots, like Zionists kill scientists, bro. Like how can you kill nuclear like physicists? Like they killed many like Iranian.
Do you know how many Iranians actually send information to Israel because they hate their government? They have they kill people regularly in Iran that collaborate with Israel.
Like many of them like would go like bicycles, like they were like recruited by the Mossad. Many of them have been executed. Like I've read about this. So they have lots of, as you call it, in Iran, lots of, I don't know the English word, but people who are against that regime.
People hate their governments. I mean, you're lucky if you like your government.
Traitors, bro. Traitors. That's what they call them. Traitors.
Yeah, but your traitor is my patriot. So I mean.
Yeah, whenever it amazes me that never like find like a Zionist traitor like good works for us. Like why you have like it's like amazes me too. Like I don't know such people exist. Like
it's got to be the government, meaning like the government of Iran. you know, if you're an intellectual and you get, you know, abused or murdered, or you have a family member that was murdered, you get angry and you're like, I want to see this government collapse. Fuck it. You know, and this is what happens.
No, but most of these traitors, like if you read about it, you can go like Google who, like for example, one scientist was killed by nobody, like a guy who was working in the gym, like I think he was like partaking some, but this guy was a very like he killed a genius, like somebody who's like eligible for Nobel prizes and like this. So it's not true. Like many like educated, literate people worked for the government while like ignorant and nobody like wanted like they get like I don't know the English word, but they get like they gonna give them money. They gonna like we're gonna get you to America. You're gonna be a citizen of the West. We're gonna give you all the American dream.
Defectors.
Just do that.
The same thing with the Soviets. You know, America enticed a lot of Soviets to come to America to resettle and defect from the Soviet government. Life is long, man. I mean, history is. I don't know. It's generational history.
I agree with you. And many Americans did it too. Like, but I'm saying like it doesn't mean like if they hate the regime. Actually, that Israel have killed 5 like nuclear physicists. Like, it's very sad because one of them is very talented. They could like help humanity. Yes, they are danger.
Yeah, but they're not going to help humanity. They're going to build a bomb.
Yeah, but that's like I don't know, but that's you can't like literally like. Do you think like it's you can like stop the world like from building bomb? Everybody gonna build them eventually.
Not really. This is life.
Built, you know, especially as you said, we have artificial intelligence. Knowledge is everywhere now, so anybody could study.
Yeah, but it's almost, even though we have knowledge everywhere, it's almost impossible to like. You can't just like force it down somebody's throat. So it's like a whole like you that scientist that was killed. You know, if he's like the Mozart of physics and he's a genius. It's very rare, but even then, it's kind of still relative. You don't really know how truly intelligent someone is, let alone.
This is how Pakistan did it, bro. Have you read about? It's actually one scientist who did it. Pakistan.
Oh, really?
It's not that difficult, bro, to make it. It's not that difficult.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting about a nuclear bomb is you're creating something out of nothing in the sense that you're able to like get to the essence of material physics. So it's like technically anybody should be able to make a nuclear bomb because what it really it's just
not technical. You don't get it. In making nuclear bombs, the problem is not technical, especially today. As you said, you could like have super intelligent like helping you research. You could have information. Books are available. So it's not like the problem is like other countries are controlled. It's like very.
But look at COVID-19. Look at COVID-19. That was more destructive than a nuclear bomb in terms of
more
economic.
Sophisticated. Actually, engineering a virus is more like sophisticated.
Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, you know, the point is stay alive. That's the purpose of life.
Like, it's like we believe in faith. Like if you're like. You're gonna live like so God's hands.
It's not. It's you know, that's an easy way to say it. I'm just saying that. What do you think the purpose of life is?
As a Muslim, the purpose of life is to worship God. And as a Jewish, you probably have the same purpose. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think that's the primary purpose is to worship. I think it's to cleave or to unite with God, but not to worship. Like God doesn't want worshipers. God wants lovers.
Okay. That seems like lovers, okay.
Meaning he doesn't God isn't so vain that God wants to be worshipped. God wants
I want to live in post-apocalyptic world. That's my dream.
A post-political world?
Yes, post-apocalyptic. I don't know the word, but like Fallout. You know the game Fallout?
I don't know, Xbox or whatever.
Like when you have like one like war and post that, you know.
It's a dream though. That's utopia. It's not possible because you know, I have many history books and when you look at the Roman history, the Chinese history, Japan, everything. It's just never ending chaos and war and war and war. It just doesn't fucking stop. It's crazy. And you know what the most wild thing is? Is that you are having a conversation right now in 2025, and guess what? You are a survivor, meaning that your parents and your grandparents and like you all survived to create you right now. So the question is, it's like, you won the lottery of survival in terms of war in human history. And it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do with your, your lottery winnings? You're going to come on Clown House and bitch and moan and waste your time and be immature or stupid or whatever. So it's like,
Listen, but war have a benefit. Actually, it's good. Like eventually, like I don't think like it will be a utopia, but eventually, my utopia is that kind of like well, all like the destruction is too imminent. Like it's not the utopia you think about. You really didn't have to. I think like after a nuclear war, humanity will change like dramatically.
there's
Like,
already been a nuclear war. Two cities have already been completely wiped off the face of the earth, but that's nothing compared to what happened to Europe in World War II. So, I mean, nuclear weapons are relative because a nuclear bomb is 25,000 tons of dynamite. So it's really compression of explosion. And so it's just relative. Like a nuclear bomb is not a nuclear bomb. A nuclear bomb is the equivalency of the number of dynamite sticks. So it's just energy. And so what I'm saying is
so do you think like for example like there are other ways for human extension like AI taking over and deciding like these stupid apes like
I think I think the transhumanism thing where eventually like we integrate hardware into our brains like maybe at birth or
okay
something.
that's happening right now but that's okay.
But that will produce geniuses that will be able to essentially fully automate production. And so
Okay,
yeah.
you are saying the human nature as it is faulty because like war is
Yeah.
happening and
Yeah.
humans as their design default design right now they cannot sustain like a life that ideal life that we want. So we gotta like modify them. For example, you have Lionel, he's like savage. We're gonna like implant something in his mind, make him like more civilized.
Did you ever see this movie called THX 1138? I think it's George Lucas's. It's the first movie George Lucas ever made. He did Star Wars, and it's about a society that has to live underground because of nuclear war. And so they fully automate society, and everybody is on a drug. And eventually, one of the people in the society stops taking the drug, and he tries to like free himself and this girl that he loves, and they try to get back to the top of the planet, but they find out that it's just a wasteland. So it's like robots and nuclear technology and humans living, yeah, in a very, yeah.
Yeah, so what they call them cyborgs, like yeah, I agree with you. We need like
They're not
some
cyborgs, they're
superior
humans, but they're using drugs, medication to essentially turn themselves into robots. No emotions, nothing.
wow.
And it's all for productivity
That's
and
even better,
survival.
bro. Like it's impossible. Like as you said, like at some point, like we gotta do something. Like I don't know the world, like eugenesis. There's a world like the Nazis. There's lot of that.
The
And that's why
Nazis, yeah, they really did believe that they were able to. They're very, it's crazy what happened. World War II is the
sometimes
craziest thing
things are
ever.
truth. Like look at this. Like some humans need like some gene editing at least. Like or at least you gotta like pick like some superior humans and like allow them to reproduce.
See, this is
That's how
the
you get.
this is another theory is that there's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe and that everything is exactly as the way that it should be, meaning that like we're already in a simulation, but we are unaware of it, meaning that like we're actually in the Garden of Eden, but for some reason we can't recognize it. And thus we have all the conflict. So it does deal with like human consciousness, and really it's the sociopaths, the people who actually cause physical harm and are, mean and nasty. It's the sociopaths historically that have ruined society.
I don't agree with that. Like you have many empaths. I love him. I'm gonna like they are actually very like unfair because they're controlled by their emotions. Emotions like make, for example, Lionel mother will protect Lionel at all costs because it's him. She loves her son. Like even if he did something wrong, so it's not like my emotions doesn't make you a good person. Like many unfair things.
Life is like can be just very bad luck. I just read about a guy who got murdered, got robbed by somebody who robbed 21 other people, and it's like society. If society doesn't carry out the laws,
America,
yeah,
Chicago, right?
yep. If
That's
they
a shitty place. Like I would never like. I would be like if I'm from Gaza, like I will stay in Gaza. Don't put me in Chicago. No.
no, it's still better than Gaza. Come on.
It's a shitty place, bro. Like
It's shitty because people are shitty, and the point is, like, you got to be on your tiptoes all the time. You don't know when you're going to get robbed.
rich. If you're rich, like life is beautiful. But if you're like, I'm saying
Tragedy strikes even when you're rich. That's why I say it's got to be a simulation. Look at Kobe Bryant, flying to his $100 million mansion and his helicopter smashes into the side of a fucking mountain.
Yeah,
Gone.
He deserved it.
He deserved it.
Yeah, like I don't know.
He should have just drove to his house. Why did he have to fly a helicopter?
Exactly. Like, why would you do that? Like, this is the kind of things that make you deserve. Like, why would you like buy a Bugatti? You could buy like any car. Like,
See, governments and just don't care if you die. There's like, you might be really rich. See, this is the weirdest thing, and like, I'm just saying that.
because like, what are you gonna do? Like, when somebody dies, it's over, bro. Like, what are you gonna care about it? Like, it's like when he was alive, I think like government did care about celebrities like Kobe Bryant. But once he died, your story ends, bro. Nobody cares about you.
No, I know it's kind of crazy. Things don't shut down when like the Pope dies, and then immediately they're just like, "We get congrats, we got a new one." So
yeah, nobody cares about him. He's in history books now. Like it's over.
yeah, that's the thing is here
That's
today,
why
gone
you gotta
tomorrow.
fuck as many bitches as you can, comedian, and you gotta live your life to the fullest.
Yeah, but it's not just about quantity; it's about the experience of quality. Meaning that like you might have a lot of sex, but a percentage of that sex is just not good sex. You want to achieve the highest standard of level, highest highest level.
But the Greeks have thought about this. Like they thought like, and I agree with those hedonistic Greeks. Like it's all about pleasure. They literally solved everything. Like,
yeah. Yeah. I know. Everything has already been solved. So the question is, why are people bombing each other? Why are people terrorizing each other? I don't understand it. It's wild.
Like as you said, because I told you, like human beings are like designed to do that by nature. It's like they didn't like evolve beyond nature. Like you gotta be controlling. You gotta like assert your dominance. It's like the jungle. You gotta be the top of the hierarchy.
But it's like first of all, it's political and it's insecurity. So if you're a good ruler and you're very wise, you never get angry. Power doesn't get angry. Power doesn't panic. Power is sublime. But the problem is a lot of people see this is why Trump's assassination made him into like the most dangerous person in the world, because he's actually happy now. The first time he wasn't happy.
Actually, he proved to many, like we thought he was a coward, but he proved he's not a coward. Like I liked him at that. He proved like as a man I connected to him. Even I don't like him, but you connect to brave men as you like you have this connection between men. So like the way like he waved his hand and he was not afraid.
See, courage is considered like one of the highest virtues. So if you can demonstrate courage, and thrust your fist in the air and scream, "Fight, fight, fight!" Like that.
He did.
Yeah, that mind virus and meme really, in many ways, absolutely guaranteed him the presidency.
Because he won that moment. He won the election, bro. Like actually, he demonstrated his courage. Like, but it was not noticeable. Like when he met like the president of North Korea, he was like very calm and collected. Like he's not the nervous like person. Because he's probably a psychopath or something.
That's why I say he could be a secret sociopath, but I just wonder if like a sociopath can socio pathologize, meaning like can you reverse engineer a sociopath?
Actually, sociopath, like, if I was like asking for a fair judgment, I'm gonna like change the topic because it's still so. I will ask a sociopath. Like, I would trust a sociopath because they are like literally detached from emotion. Like, if they don't.
See, you can be detached from emotion, but there's like a negative and a positive way to detach, um, where you still maintain your humanity and you're not a robot. So that's the big differentiation. See, Stoic
But
philosophy.
they're not robots. Actually, their definitions, they only have like weaker emotional, like they don't sense emotions as we do. It's not they are robots.
Well, there's this mafia killer named the Iceman that killed like 100 and something people, and just the coldest, most detached and terrifying person you could ever meet. Um, who literally he was a contract killer that killed 100, 100 plus people, and but yet still very gentle and peaceful and strong and confident. So it's like it's like a gorilla or like a silverback. It's like it's brain
Yeah,
psychology. It's brain
he's like
science.
he's like a polar bear. Like, he doesn't care. He's
Yeah,
just doing
yep,
his
yep.
job.
Just doing it, just roaming and eating. Just
So,
no,
like, I
yeah,
understand what you say. I understand this look like somebody who doesn't like empty.
yep.
I get it. Yeah, but sometimes people have that because they feel justified. It's not that like, if you have a good reason to do something and you feel you are right,
Yeah.
it's not that you are a sociopath. You not just do it. Like, you are, yeah.
See, life though can sweep you away, meaning you might have the best intentions and you might win, but then something bigger comes along, and that's the natural kingdom where a bigger fish eats the smaller fish, and the smaller fish is completely unaware that there's even a bigger fish. Next thing you know, the smaller fish is being digested, and you're like, "What happened? What
For example,
happened?"
for example, let's say you work like with the government, your execution day of some criminal, this guy's innocent, and you don't feel like guilty about executing this guy. Like, it's okay. Like, he killed. You believe he killed people. You have a reason. Does that make you? This kind of detachment is actually more dangerous than sociopathic detachments.
Mm-hmm.
Once you feel justified, you can do anything. And some people are very good at justifying things to themselves.
Yep.
They could like have some reasons, and do whatever they want. That's why, like, I think this is the most evil coming from. It's not from real psychopaths. It's from people who justify things to themselves and others, like, to do anything they want.
See, that religion can help you justify anything because,
Yes.
yeah, that's the danger of Islam, where
It's not. You literally like bombing people. You're justifying like doing genocide in Gaza. So
no, you don't understand. Like if you read Rumi or Sufism, and you mix it with wine and cannabis and war. Because, like, look, earlier you mentioned the Greeks and hedonism. Well, the Romans and the Greeks really did hedonism to the highest level ever in human achievement
because
with
that's
slaves
the
and
purpose of life.
sex.
I mean, you should be going there, like, finding, like, doing shit. This is my plan, bro. Practice hedonism to its extent.
Well, then that's where you might end up dying because you're practicing the life of a hedonist.
I don't know. I'm gonna read about it, but I think this is like I was thinking about this. Like, I think this is all that matters. Like, as you said, like, you're gonna be forgotten whatever you want. Like, look at these great people. Like, them things. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, but that game also becomes boring. So you have to find a nice blend of hedonism with conservatism and peace, because the problem with hedonism is you can end up just it's so self-destructive that the
It
alternative.
doesn't matter, bro. Like, once you like, you're gonna like be distracted anyway. Imagine if you could have cancer at any moment. Like imagine comedian. You could be like, you could literally right
Everybody
now,
could have. Everybody already has cancer right now. It's called mortality. You're gonna die.
So it doesn't matter, bro. Like once you think about it, like you're gonna like if you have like the opportunity to enjoy life, hedonism could mean many things to different people. Like
No, hedonism really should just mean be in the moment, which is now. And if you're ever outside of the now, then you're really losing. You're failing to achieve the now, which is the all. So, I mean, you said earlier that Islam is about worshiping God. Well, God is the now. There's no God 10 years ago.
but
There's no such thing
me
as
and
10
you,
years
we
ago.
all know that this God is like it's not it's like as you said that it's something to tell the people, but like when it comes
It's
to
not
think
something to
about
tell
like
the people. It's the same thing as your name on this app. New is the same thing as the word now. So that's what God is. The word God can be translated as the word all or new or now or wow. It's always dealing with the present moment. There is nothing else but the present moment in our reality. So that's what it is. I mean, there's like hardly a past. There is no past. It's just a compression
okay,
now.
do you think the world would be better without religions, like all religions? You think it would be a better place?
That'd be boring.
Yeah, I think it would be amazing, bro. Like
No, it would be boring. It would be boring. Just imagine if every book was destroyed and books were outlawed. Then it would be like that book 1984 or something. It would become a prison industrial complex for everybody, and it would be
no, but
boring.
but we will appreciate this life more. Like we will have more. Like we'll not like, oh, I'm gonna have another life. I don't need like this. If you think this is all you got, like you will put all that you got. Dude.
Listen, the basis, the basis of the best argument is that there's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe. So all your hypothesizing is actually inaccurate, meaning that the way things are now is a very highly refined state, and it's probably an improvement from the year 50 AD. It's probably. I mean, there's more people now ever on the planet. COVID-19 and the vaccines didn't. We're depopulating, and there's lower birth rates, but there's still more people now than ever before. So
I think China, Pakistan is gonna help us with that. Like we're gonna depopulate soon, probably.
I don't think a nuclear bomb is as big as you think it is. COVID-19 and the vaccine is probably the biggest depopulation event in human history. I don't think 10 nuclear bombs could achieve what COVID-19.
How many millions did COVID kill?
It's not about how many they killed now. It's about all the fertility rates have plummeted. So there's going to be no new people. It's just like this app.
You see, this is new to me.
You see this app. You don't see any party hats, do you? That means there's no new people. And if you look around, I don't know about you, but I don't see babies. I don't see any babies. You see any babies? I don't see any babies.
New generations use different apps, like TikTok. I'm saying like Kobe doesn't like. I don't think it interfered with the ability like to conceive.
John a really serious question.
What?
When it comes to 1984, all that Orwellian bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
There was a movie that I used to watch where they outlawed books, and then you would be able to steal and sneak a book, and your whole job as the citizen was to read that one book and memorize it over and over and over and over again, and you burn the book. But then you walk around this lake, and then you would I would tell you my book, John, while you tell me your book. As we both walk around the lake, round and round and round, because we don't have a book, but we just remember, the remembrance of the books we read. What the fuck movie was that?
I don't know.
Well, you have two personalities.
No, I got another room open called comedy.
You reminded me of it, talking about